check, check.
It's time for Hoptown Hoppers Baseball. This Hoppers on Radio broadcast is brought to you by Service One Credit Union, Southern States Petroleum, Raymond Nelson Insurance, Baird Wealth Management, All Clean Services and AKS Flooring and Design Center, McGee Pest Control, Hopkinsville Milling Company, J. Schrecker Jewelry, Arby's, Hoptown Hoppers, TGASK, Hayes Furniture, Pennyroll Electric, Max Arnold & Sons, Planners Bank, and Huggard Beard and Giles Funeral Home. Now let's head to the stadium for all the action.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Jamar Perkins and Ethan Alexander here, getting ready to start some Hoptown Hoppers baseball in about 14 minutes as the Hoppers are set to take on the Bowling Green Pistons. This will be a rematch from earlier in the season. To put some perspective on this game, it was a 26-4 loss about a month ago when the Pistons defeated the Hoppers here at Colonel Field. So Hoppers looking to get some revenge here, but coming off of a decent day yesterday as they ended up splitting a series against the Du Bois County Bombers. Ethan, what did you see from those two games?
You know, the Hoppers, they came out strong in the first inning of the first game and scored 4 very quick runs. And then after that, the rest of the day was pretty slow. The remaining 13 innings, both teams combined for, I believe, 4 runs altogether. So it was a slow day. Neither team really had it as far as hitting was concerned. And the pitching was all right for the most part. But at the end of the day, it kind of looked like two teams that are at the bottom of their division, not playing very well and just happening to match up against each other at that point in time.
And so as far as, I would say positives kind of taken away from yesterday's game, what would you see as far as, something that they did good? I know pitching-wise, we talked about, when you talk about just, not really allowing too many runs, you say, allowing, as I'm looking here, it was 1 run in the first game and 2 runs in the second. So, as far as what they allowed the Bombers to get, so I'd say that's definitely a positive there.
Yeah, the first game pitching was good all the way through, and Miles Green started it off and pitched his best game of the year. And the second game was a little bit iffy, but luckily for the Hoppers, the Bombers didn't come out and really hit the ball well in that one either. So the pitching was better than what we've seen so far this year, and I would say that there was very little errors in the fielding as well. So defensively, it was all right, but both teams were struggling on offense.
So a factor to mention, too, when you talk about these Bowling Green Pistons is they do not have a home field. Now, as far as a practice area, I'm not sure what that's like, but you look at how many games they play, you reckon how much do they practice. They didn't show up for batting practice here, so they may have a place, but they travel every single game. And as if some of you may know, this was supposed to be an away game, but all Bowling Green Pistons home games have turned into home games for the other team. And that has to take some kind of toll on the players. When you talk about pending postponements and cancellations of games, Sunday or Tuesday through Sunday is straight baseball, straight making these travels. Bowling Green, you're making a couple of trips and staying at Bowling Green. So that has to be a factor. And as we mentioned too, or not mentioned, but we saw earlier, it appears to be that some of these players are driving themselves. Actually, majority of these players are driving themselves. They've got we saw them pull up in about 1 van, and the rest of the players are coming out of their own cars. So that's also a factor too. You don't see too many players traveling, that distance just to play again. So maybe it's more comfortable though. You get a little bit more leg room when you're in your car, but still, just having to do that and then go play a baseball game, and then having to go do the same thing tomorrow, that has to be a factor. But, again, the Hoppers are currently, as far as in the standings, they're 10-15, which makes them a 5th in the South Division. Well, we mentioned it was a big game against Clarksville Whirlybirds. a couple of days ago, and they didn't end up losing that one. So now they are actually 2 games behind the Clarksville Whirlybirds for 4th place. And the way the OVO works is they'll take the top 4 teams in each division to make the playoffs. So that will be something to look at as we start winding down in this last month. Hoppers have about 2 weeks here to get things going to try to make the final push. But, one thing to kind of talk about, too, is yes, you want to win games and you want to win the OVL championship, but that's not the main goal for these players. What they really come out here to do is to work on their game and become better. So that's the ultimate goal, but it certainly does not help doesn't hurt to end up calling yourselves champions at the end of this league. So Hoppers trying to make a final push and trying to get something done in that situation. But Bowling Green Pistons also, they're actually the 6th team in the Southern Divisions. They have a 7-17 record, and they are about a game and a half behind us. So want to make sure we get this victory as well. Don't want them to get closer to us as far as the standings. But the Hoppers looking to take on the Bowling Green Pistons tonight. Again, this game should start in about 9 minutes. Could start earlier. We're going to go ahead and take a timeout. We're going to check out our Dugout Show, which is brought to you by the Barbecue Shack, offering catering and custom cooking. Visit them Wednesday and Thursday, 10 a.m. to 5:30 p.m., Friday, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m., and Saturday, 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. at 4687 Pembroke Road in Hopkinsville. When we come back, we'll hear from Coach E.J. Davari, his thoughts from yesterday's game, and some thoughts about how to get the victory tonight. And this is Hoptown Hopper Baseball, brought to you by Chick-fil-A. Perkins here with Hopper head coach E.J. Davari as the Hoppers are set to take on the Bowling Green Pistons. How you doing today, Coach?
Pretty good, man. How about yourself?
I'm doing good, doing good. So yesterday you all split with the Bombers in a doubleheader. What were your takeaways from that?
I felt like we played really good baseball. We pitched well, which was great to see after our Tuesday game. We did pitch the ball very well. We hit early on. We hit the ball very well. It just wasn't dropping for us. I felt we got a little tired at the end. A long day, 14 innings. But it was really 2 good baseball games.
So last time that the Pistons were here, they beat the Hoppers 26-4. Now, I know you weren't here, but as far as the whole team and the mentality walking into this game, what is it kind of, obviously wanting to get revenge?
It's a new day, new ball game mentality for them. That was maybe, a month ago maybe now. They're taking it day by day. So as we go, new day, new ball game.
Coach, the Pistons are 2nd in the league in stolen bases. Who's the catcher tonight, and how do you feel about their ability to throw out runners?
So we got Reed Douglas today. I feel like with our lefty on the mound, we'll be able to hold them a little bit better than just our normal righty starter. And then Reed, hopefully he's been doing a good job behind the dish, so hopefully he gets to throw out some guys today and show out that arm and stop the running game early on.
And Coach, you mentioned a lefty pitcher, not too many of those. Who's the starting pitcher tonight? What can you tell us about him?
We got Caden Wilburn. He missed his start last week due to all the rainouts and weather, so he should be plenty rested for his start today. So really looking forward to seeing what he's got going on.
Thank you, Coach.
No problem.
There's a lot that
And a look at our starting lineups for the Bowling Green Pistons. Have some different numbers as far as with their roster, so we're going to have to make that up as we go by. But I can tell you the Hoptown Hoppers roster, as behind the plate, starting things off batting first will be Reed Douglas. Then the second batter will be second baseman Sam Perkins. The third batter, Luis Vergara, coming out of left field. Tate Van Hooser, a newly acquired hopper. Tate Van Hooser will be playing first base, batting fourth. The fifth batter will be Carter Hood. The sixth batter will be Robert Estrada. He'll be playing out in right field. Chase Cummings will be the designated hitter tonight. He'll be batting seventh. And then eighth batter coming out of center field, Stephen Bell. It's been a minute since he's played at Colonel Field. Then John Keebler will be playing at shortstop, the ninth batter. And then starting for the Hoppers pitching will be Cody Wilburn, a left-handed pitcher. Different look here, as I mentioned, if you were listening in the dugout show, how well that the Bowling Green Pistons, they're second in stolen bases in the league. Well, it's a strong benefit to have a left-handed pitcher, and it's a lot harder to steal first base to second when you're dealing with the left-handed pitcher. He also complimented Reed Douglas on his ability to throw out runners and his possibly a chance for him to show off his arm strength here, as the opening pitch is just a few moments away. It's brought to you by Rapid RX Pharmacy, located on Fort Campbell Boulevard in Hopkinsville. Looking for a new pharmacy? Let the friendly staff at Rapid RX Pharmacy help you. As I believe Wilburn just threw his last pitch. It did get outside and towards the dirt, but hope that's his only pitch like that today, is just a warm-up here.
Yeah, and we've talked about the stealing of bases, but Wilburn being a lefty here is going to help kind of nullify some of those stolen bases to second, as obviously it's harder to steal second base on a left-handed pitcher than it is a righty. So that alone will help to stop some of that stealing.
Swing and a miss on the first pitch there. And so now no balls and one strike here. 0-1 the count to the right-handed batter. Swing and a miss there. Actually chopped the ball there, but ended up near the glove of Reed Douglas. So that'll make it an 0-2 count.
And if we look at the dugout of Bowling Green, they don't have many guys, and you know that could be either A, they only bring the guys that they know are going to play, so that those guys don't have to travel every day of the week, or B, they've lost some guys throughout the season just due to the hard schedule they've been playing.
Landon Leak is at bat right now for the Bowling Green Pistons. He's facing an 0-2 count after fouling that previous ball. So no balls, 2 strikes. As that'll be a low pitch there, making it 1 ball, 2 strikes. Again, Caden Wilburn is on the mound. Caden Wilburn. I'm pretty sure I might have said Cody. Apologize for that. Caden Wilburn on the mound for the Hoppers. Throw there, the 0-2 count. That is another low ball. That one inside, so that'll make it 2 balls and 2 strikes. As another ball there makes it a full count. So 3 balls and 2 strikes. So 3 balls, 2 strikes here. The throw is just inside there, so Leak will walk.
Yeah, and that's a tough one considering they started out a 0-2 count. I mean, you can give up a hit there maybe and, you know, not look as bad, but giving up a walk on an 0-2 count is a tough look to get this game started against a team that has beat this team due to walks.
So now a runner at first, as that'll be an outside pitch there. So 1 ball. And no strikes. The 1-0 is they'll throw over to first. Van Hooser will catch it, but in time is Leak at first. And so number 2 is at the plate. As inside pitch there, almost hit. Shaman Mitten is what it appears he is listed as. He wears number 2, though, so on the roster, Bowling Green Pistons say that's Jacoby Radcliffe. But so we'll go with a Shaman Mitten, I believe, at the plate. As that'll be an inside pitch, and it gets past Douglas, so running to second will be Leak off the wild pitch.
Yeah, now 7 straight balls thrown. Again, this team beat Hoptown earlier this season 26-4. And in that game, it was walk after walk after walk after walk. I mean, that's really why they won that game to the extent that they did. And that's one thing that the Hoppers need to avoid today.
And another outside pitch, so 4 straight balls will walk Mitten. So not the start you necessarily want if you're the Hoppers, but an out here would be very important. As Don Sandifer is at the plate now for the Pistons. As that'll be a strike called. And we talked about it in the beginning of the game as far as maybe some of these Pistons players realized the situation, having to travel every single game and didn't want to do it and left. Because it seems that a lot of these numbers you see aren't the actual players playing. So I believe this is a kind of a newer roster for the Pistons, at least newer since the last time we've seen them, which was a month ago. So the roster that I have here isn't correlating with some of these players. So you imagine there has been a couple of replacements here, multiple. No balls, 2 strikes, though, after that strike was just called. Runners at first and second. They're both going to steal, but it's going to be a grounder going towards the shortstop. It's fielded by Keebler, but he can't make the throw to first.
Yeah, and this is a rough start right now for Hoptown. Loaded bases, no outs. And if they can get out of here without giving up a run, I'll be shocked. It's something about this dang Pistons team, man. They are the, by record, worst team in the league. They come here and they just look like the all-star, the OVL all-star team against the Hoppers.
Zen Hyatt. It is a name that I've recognized. He actually leads this team in hits on the season with 19. He also has 4 doubles, which leads this team.
And that could just be a big reason for that. Could just be that he's been here the whole time.
That's true. As that'll be a low pitch there for a ball. So 1-0 the count. Throw there will be grounded, and that one gets past the third baseman, Hood. So a run will score, but right there is Luis Vergara to be able to make the play in left field. So only 1 run scores.
Still no outs. Already a stolen base in this one, too, from second to third. Not a good start.
And so now the bases, as you mentioned, remain loaded with no outs, and it's a 1-0 ball game to start things here in the top of the first. Throw there is a strike, a bit of a delayed call there, but strike regardless.
Yeah, I've noticed that several times. His calls have been delayed, so that'll definitely not get annoying throughout the night.
Yeah, I'll make sure to just hold my calls here. I have as the pitch is thrown there, that'll be a chopper, and it lands fair. It'll be grabbed with one hand by Hood, and he makes the throw. That isn't out, but a run does score. A nice job there from Hood to grab it solely with his right hand, the ball, and made the throw. A run did score, though, so that makes it a 2-0 ball game with now runners at second and a third with a 1 out. Now Charlie Teal will be at the plate. Another one of those players that we did see in the beginning of the season. As that will be chopped near the dugout. So no balls, 1 strike to throw. That ball is low and outside. So now 1 ball, 1 strike. Swing and a miss there. As the pitch does get past Douglas, and sliding in to score there is Sandifer.
Yeah, and that hit something. I don't know. I guess it was Douglas. But I mean, you could hear the ball hit something. I thought that it fouled off the bat, but not. It didn't. I guess it went. It either went off Douglas or the umpire. But I wasn't expecting the run to come in there. I thought that was a foul off.
So now 1 ball, 2 strikes to Charlie Teal with the runner at third and 1 out. That'll be an outside pitch there, which evens the count at 2-2. The throw, that ball is chopped and caught, but it will be foul. Nice job by Van Hooser to get there, but it was fielded in foul territory. And so 2 balls and 2 strikes still with the runner at third. The throw to the lefty, Teal, is outside just by a bit, though, and that makes the count full. The 3-2 pitch is inside but chopped at home plate, ends up behind. And so now the count remains the same as Charlie Teal is fighting to stay in this count. As that pitch is going to be a ball. As you can visibly see, it seemed Wilburn did not like that call.
Yeah, and I mean, he's right. I mean, that was probably a strike in reality, but at the same time, you know, 2 batters have been walked and multiple hits have been given up. So, you know, you would like to have that call given to you, but you should already be out of this inning.
As pitching coach Mike Albin will come out and have a chat with Wilburn. And not a good sign. You know, you talk about what the Pistons have done against the Hoppers. They've had good games. And, I mean, of course, you have the 26-4 loss, but also the very first game of the season, this is who the Hoppers played, and the Pistons had beat the Hoppers 13-6. So this is the game that I feel like the Hoppers, you know, really want to get. And not the best start, but still a chance that they haven't had an opportunity to see the plate. So you hope that that's going to be a energizer for them on the offensive side as the umpire comes in, I believe, to end the conference at the mound.
Yeah, and I mean, those 2 games that the Pistons won, I mean, not only did they play all right, but the Hopper's pitching staff in both of those games really struggled, especially the second game. And so, that would probably be as the Pistons are coming in here, their coaches are probably telling them, you might not need to swing all that much. These guys may walk you, and so far that's been the case.
Jory Anderson is batting now for the Pistons. The throws are trying to steal second. They will make the throw, and they'll try to come home, but it's cut off there by Carter Hood, and a nice job there. A great player, Sam Perkins there at second base, as he was there to cut off basically in the middle of second base, expecting that run coming from home. So Reed Douglas threw it straight in his direction, and Sam Perkins there makes the throw. Home for the second out now. Now going to second is Teal, but now 2 outs instead of 1. As I mentioned, Jory Anderson, that first pitch was a ball for a 1-0 count. The throw is a strike there in the outside corner. As that ball will hit home plate. And so that makes it 2 balls and 1 strike. And a high and outside throw there. Makes it 3 balls and 1 strike. And a low inside pitch there will walk Anderson. And that'll put runners at first and second. Now Thomas Barnhart is at the plate. Barnhart on the season at a .212 batting average. And on-base percentage is in the 420s. As he'll throw over to second there to Keebler. And it's back in time as Teal. So runners at first and second. It's a 3-0 ball game here as the Pistons lead the Hoppers. The throw, that ball is going to be foul. Or no, they'll say fair. They'll say fair. And tagging the bag there was Carter Hood at third. So that is just inside as the third base coach for the Pistons disagrees. But regardless, that'll be a ground out there, force out. As that will do it, we'll go ahead and head over to the bottom of the first inning as there was just 1 hit. Or excuse me, 2 hits. There were no errors. And there was 2 left on base with 3 runs scored. We head to the bottom of the first inning. Checking the manpower of Hopkinsville scoreboard 3-0. This is Hoptown Hopper Baseball brought to you by Chick-fil-A.
Radio WHOP.
And welcome back, as the Hoptown Hoppers here are currently trailing the Bowling Green Pistons 3-0 after the top of the first inning, as it was just 2 hits, but it was 4 walks, and it was a double steal that helped the Bowling Green Pistons set up those 3 runs. And now the Hoppers will send Reed Douglas starting off to bat first.
And the first ball there, I was about to call it a ball, called a strike. This umpire with a delayed strike call. And the second pitch here, same spot. That one actually looked a little bit like a strike. So an 0-2 count getting started quickly for Reed Douglas. And immediately hits one to center field, just goes a little too far, and the center fielder is able to get under it. So that'll be the first out on the solid contact from Douglas. If it drops a little bit quicker, that's a pretty single, but it goes a little bit too fast, too far, and now Sam Perkins will be up at the plate. Perkins had a good day yesterday, I believe. Went 2 for 3 or maybe 3 for 4 in his first game, and then I think 1 for 3 in the second game yesterday. One of the few players that played both games in the doubleheader in Du Bois County, and he'll take a ball to get his day started here. Perkins also the infielder who threw that ball back to home and snagged that runner going home. And the top of the first inning, he'll swing and miss there to make the count 1-1 with 1 out on the board and no runners on. That's an outside high pitch for a ball. 2-1, the count to Perkins. Perkins kind of solidifying his position as the main primary second baseman on this Hoppers team. That's a ball in the dirt. It's a solid hitter, not a power hitter, but somebody that has a lot of speed. They like to keep in the lineup just for base running purposes. Has good plate discipline and has carved out a role on this team. And he'll pop that one foul for the full count. 3-2. Luis Vergara's on deck. If Perkins can get on base here, that's a good 1-2 punch to try to bring him in. Full count here is high. So Perkins will walk and be the first runner on base today for Hoptown, and that'll bring up Luis Vergara with a runner on base.
And pitching for the Bowling Green Pistons is Malcolm Rolone, right-handed pitcher, as that breaking ball there hits the outside corner for a strike. So 0-1 the count for Luis Vergara. And again, 1 out after the fly out to center field. Well hit fly ball, though. That's another strike. Back-to-back outside pitches.
Yeah, and you saw Luis tell the umpire that was outside, push the hand out a little bit to show that, and it's called anyway.
Throws or throw over to first, and in time is Sam Perkins. And that throw to inside there was an attempt to frame that one.
Yeah, and it came back in there at the end. It actually looked like, I thought from my perspective, it was about to hit Luis. So pretty pitch, just not coming back towards the zone early enough.
They'll throw over to first once again. And in time is Perkins. Again, 3-0. The score is the Pistons lead the Hoppers. That ball is looking like it's going to go foul. And it does. It'll go behind the Hoppers dugout at first. So 1 ball, 2 strikes here with 1 out and a runner at first. Throw there is fouled behind home plate, so that'll keep the count the same at 1-2.
Yeah, and I was talking about Vergara the other day and how last season I believe he had 12 home runs, which, you know, honestly he may have finished last season with more home runs than this Hoppers team is going to finish as a team this year, but just waiting for that to get started again this summer.
As that will be a shot towards left field. It lands near the right side of left field. It's fielded by the center fielder. And a base hit there. Positive sign there from Luis Vergara, as you mentioned.
Yeah, and I actually think Perkins could have made it to third there. He was a couple steps off second base, heading to third before the ball was even picked up, and he's a guy with speed. I probably would have sent him.
Tate Van Hooser is now at the plate. Now, did Luis say anything as far as the differences in the amount of home runs this season, or kind of just what was his thoughts on that? Is that a swing and a miss there?
I wasn't talking to Luis about it. I was just, considering that, big differential last year, and how he's still yet to hit one, and we almost got used to seeing it on just about every other game last season. So at some point you expect him to kind of get into that rhythm again, where not only is he getting contact, because he's been getting contact this year, as Tate Van Hooser starts out 0-2 in his count, but not only getting contact, but getting that power we're used to seeing from him.
There's no balls and 2 strikes with 1 out and runner at first and second. That'll be a high hit ball there, but it's fouled near left field. So now again, runners at first and second. And I would not be surprised if Luis became one of those, the newest member of the home run list for the Hoppers.
I'm just waiting for it. At some point, it has to happen eventually. Tate Van Hooser already has one himself, and he just hit one deep foul, though.
The 0-2 pitch there is high and outside. That'll make it 1 ball and 2 strikes.
I'll tell you what, Luis yesterday almost had one of the best shots I've seen this season. Nearly hit a home run on the field in Du Bois that would have won the game for them in the top of the 7th inning.
As that will be hit towards center field, but it lands in the glove, similar to the play that happened with Reed Douglas. Came well off the bat, but a nice job there from Leak to be there. And so now it's 2 outs with Carter Hood coming to the plate. So again, 3-0. The Pistons lead the Hoppers here in the bottom of the first. With Hoppers, they have runners at first and second here with 2 outs. First throw is inside and close to Carter Hood. And Carter Hood, he's check the stats for the OVL. He is in that top 5 area when it comes to being hit by a pitch, as it's happened multiple times as that pitch will go outside.
Yeah, he crowds the plate, and he got hit by a pitch yesterday as well in the first game, I believe. Not at first, but when that pitch starts coming in, he leans in.
As that will be fouled, makes it a 2-1 count. And I have him being hit 8 times on the season, so might have to look at those stats again, as I checked them yesterday. He could be even higher on that hit by pitch list, as that is a swing and a miss there. A nice fastball from Rolone. So now 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs, and 2 runners on base at first and second. Throw there is high. So now a full count. If Hood can manage to reach base, it'll be Robert Estrada next up for the Hoppers.
Yeah, and if they could even get 1 run here, that would just be a good way to stay in this game right now. They're just on the edge. They have a runner in scoring position, but it's close.
The throw there that will be a walk as he was high and outside. So now the Hoppers have the bases loaded with Robert Estrada at the plate. As that'll be a strike called, or a foul ball, should I say. So no balls, one strike. The throw there. That ball is going to be hit, high to center field. Looks like a pop fly fly out. And that's exactly what it is Leak was responsible for all of the outs here. All fly balls out to center. Ended up being the 3 outs. As there was 1 hit, there were no errors. There were 3 left on base and no runs scored. As we head to the top of the 2nd inning, checking the manpower of Hopkinsville's scoreboard, the Pistons lead the Hoppers 3-0. This is Hoptown Hopper Baseball, brought to you by Chick-fil-A.
This is News Radio WHOP AM Hopkinsville and WHOP HD3 Hopkinsville. News Radio WHOP.
It's a 3-0 ball game as the Pistons currently lead the Hoppers. And we are set to start the top of the 2nd inning. As starting things off here at the plate, it'll be Whitaker for the Pistons, right-handed batter. Throw there is just low for a ball. So 1-0 the count. And second pitch is swung on and missed. So 1 ball, 1 strike. Again, a 3-0 ball game here as that first pitch is going to be a called strike. So 2-1 the count. And that pitch.
Seeing these batters stare at the umpire waiting for him to make the call is funny. They know he's got a delayed reaction, so they're just waiting for him to make it.
So 2 balls and 2 strikes. Throw there is, I believe, too low. We got to wait and see. Okay, I think that is the ball there. So 3 balls and 2 strikes. Again, Wilburn is pitching for the Hoppers. Lefty, the full count pitch is swung on and missed there. As that will do it for the first batter. That was the 9th batter. So now up back for his second at bat is Landon Leak.
Yeah, and a much better start there with the strikeout versus the tough beginning to the last inning. And once again, talking about the umpire, it's funny, he made that strikeout call. The batter was already halfway back to the dugout.
Landon Leak, right-handed batter back at the plate. He walked in his last bat and scored as well. That's going to be a breaking ball too high there. So that makes it a 1-0 count. Landon Leak from Helena, Alabama. As that looks like it'll be fouled, but Van Hooser's trying to track it down to the bullpen. He makes the grab and falls down there. A nice job there from Tate. And that will be the second out. Now Shimon Mitten. As he shows bunt but takes it away. It's a low pitch there for a ball. As the throw there will hit the backstop and land on the shoulder of the umpire. I don't think it hit him too hard. As he doesn't seem to be shaken up here. As Reed Douglas is going to go chat with Wilburn for a bit after the back-to-back balls.
So what constitutes on a bunt it being a strike versus a ball? Because is it the amount of time they have it there? Is it where the bat's at when the ball comes into the strike zone? Because that bunt attempt right there, the bat never got pulled back. So is that not?
I believe if it crosses the plate.
The plate.
I didn't really focus on the bat if it did cross the plate or not.
But in that case, what's the point of bringing the bat back on on a foul that has no chance of hitting the bat? I don't know.
Yes.
Baseball confuses me sometimes.
That'll be a high pitch called strike. It looked a bit high there, but regardless, that'll make it a 2-1 count. As that ball will be hit high near right field. Looks like mid-right field. Robert Estrada tracking it down, and he makes the easy grab. As that will do it for the Pistons here in the top of the second, as it was 3 up, 3 down. No hits, no errors, none left on base, and a no run scored. As we look over at the Manpower of Hopkinsville scoreboard, looking for a job, visit Manpower on Fort Campbell Boulevard in Hopkinsville today. Let them connect you with a great position where you can start tomorrow. The score, 3-0. The Pistons lead the Hoppers, and on deck for the Hoppers starting things off will be Chase Cummings, Stephen Bell, and John Keebler. This is Hoptown Hopper Baseball, brought to you by Chick-fil-A.
News Radio WHOP.
First pitch is inside to Chase Cummings, who is at the plate for the Hoptown Hoppers. It's a 3-0 ball game as the Pistons lead the Hoppers here in the bottom of the second inning. Pitch there is outside, which makes it a 2-0 count. On deck is Stephen Bell. for the Hoppers. That'll be another outside pitch. So now 3 balls and no strikes. Swing and a miss there for the first strike and the count. So 3 balls and 1 strike now. As the game day sponsor tonight is Kentucky Homes Realty. Kelly Mitchell is the owner. As that'll be an inside pitch, which will walk Chase Cummings. So first batter is put to first base. Stephen Bell, the left-handed batter here for the Hoppers. As that'll be a strike called. Oh, 1 count is grounded and it's fouled near the third baseline. As Bell did reach for that one a bit, and you can hear Coach Davari saying in the dugout, let it get to you. But now have to be a bit maybe more aggressive here with an 0-2 count. The throw is going to be grounded there, and it's fielded at second, and the throw is made, but it's loose. So now going to third is Cummings, and staying at first will be Stephen Bell.
Yeah, that ball actually bounces off the dugout right to the catcher, and he's able to keep Bell from making it to second. And Chase Cummings was actually kind of funny. Had to play a little bit of a dodgeball there as that ball kind of started coming towards him as he was running to second, and kind of slowed up. Wasn't sure if he'd be able to make the turn to third. He gets there, and so now the Hoppers are in a really good spot.
Runners at first and third. The throw inside to John Keebler. So a 1-0 count. On deck is the leadoff hitter for the Hoppers, Reed Douglas. Throw there is swung on and missed. 1 ball, 1 strike. You wonder if Hoppers may use the opportunity to steal for second here with the runners at first and third. Throw there will be a base hit in between the shortstop and third baseman, so scoring easily will be Chase Cummings, and staying at second will be John Keebler, or Stephen Bell. Got my names mixed up all over the place here. Stephen Bell will go to second, and John Keebler with the base hit will go to first.
Still no outs here. The Hoppers in an excellent position to go ahead and nullify this 3-run lead that they had, that the Pistons had just a moment ago. Now a 2-run lead, but runner in scoring position and a solid top of the lineup here, getting ready to bat with no outs.
As you mentioned, 3-1 now the score. Runners at first and second with no outs. Showing bunt and taking it away there was Reed Douglas. And a strike is actually called. So 0-1 the count. So no balls, 1 strike here. The throw. That one swung on and missed. That'll make it an 0-2 count. We've seen multiple 0-2 counts, it feels like, for these Hoppers. Some have gotten out, some haven't. Again, 3-1 the score. The throw, that one is outside for a ball. So 1 ball, 2 strikes now. Again, 3-1 the score. It's Malcolm Rolone pitching for the Pistons. That throw was swung on and missed there. So Douglas will strike out. And that'll put 1 out on the board, with Sam Perkins now up at the plate. 1 out. Throw there is outside. So 1 ball and no strikes. That throw is outside. So 2-0 the count. Two balls, no strikes, 1 out. The throw is going to be high for a ball. So now 3 balls and no strikes. And again, 1 out on the board with runners at first and second. Throw there is going to be high for a ball. So walking is Sam Perkins, and that will load the bases up.
And here you have Luis Vergara, who had a nice hit in his first at-bat. Kind of got unlucky there and was put in a position where that came when there was 2 outs on the board and they weren't able to get anything done. But here in a little bit better of a position, bases loaded and only 1 out. Vergara here with a huge chance to do something for the Hoppers. You mentioned Perkins' second walk of the day. Consistent base mover.
First throw was fouled behind home plate towards the right side, making it an 0-1 count. And as you mentioned, Vergara 1 for 1 so far, had the base hit out near left field. As that ball will be fouled towards the hitting facility.
And you can tell he wants it 2 back-to-back fouls here, swinging. And he's going to have to fight here to keep this at-bat alive.
So no balls, 2 strikes. The throw is going to be a bit high and outside, but Vergara is able to foul that one off. So now no balls and 2 strikes.
Yeah, and expect an outside pitch here, trying to get him to swing.
The throw looks like it's inside, and it'll actually be a chopper as it'll be fielded, and the throw will be made to first, and safe is Luis Vergara, and coming in to score is Stephen Bell.
Yeah, I don't know exactly what that pitcher was thinking. The force was there at home, 2 feet away from him, and he would have got him if he just made the underhanded throw to home. I honestly don't know what the thought process there was, other than just being used to making that throw to first.
I think that might have been what it was. I think, too, if he maybe even could have leaped out and kind of tagged Stephen Bell coming in, but regardless, nice for the Hoppers there as they managed to get the run scored with still just 1 out here. As Tate Van Hooser is at the plate. I was a bit confused as Carter Hood's walkout music came, but 1 ball, no strikes here to start things off. That pitch is going to be a strike, a bit high and outside. 1 ball, 1 strike with 1 out here. And the bases do remain loaded. Throw there will be hit towards left center field, and it will hit the fence, but it'll bring in at least 1 run. And trying to round and come in is Perkins, and he will score. And out at second, though, is Luis Vergara. So he will get tagged out as he kind of had a lead off of second, tried to run back, and the throw from home to second was a nice throw, and that will get him out.
Yeah, props to that catcher for having the wherewithal to realize that he wasn't going to be able to get that runner at home, and instead of trying to tag Perkins at home, going and getting out at second base, as Luis Vergara probably would have made it to third if the attempt had been made at home plate.
Nice job there from Van Hooser. Probably the best single we've seen all season.
He had only a single because he was getting blocked by another runner. That was a perfectly hit ball, bounced once, hit the fence, bounced up. He would have made it. He would have made it to second pretty easily if there wasn't other runners.
And Van Hooser already looking like a nice addition for the Hoppers.
Yeah, he has a ton of power in that bat.
As that'll be a ball called there to Carter Hood at the plate. The throw is going to be fouled. And that will be fouled near third base, a grounder, so that makes it a 2-1 count. Again, at first is Van Hooser. And at the plate, Carter Hood. Hood was walked in his last at bat. They'll throw over to first. Van Hooser is in time. The 2-1 is outside, which will make it 3 balls and 1 strike. Again, 2 outs on the board. It's a 4-3 game now. The Hoppers have taken the lead. As dancing at first base is Van Hooser. That pitch will be outside. So 3-1 now the count. Excuse me. So 3 balls and 1 strike. And that will be a high pitch there as Carter Hood will walk for the 2nd time in a row. And now we've got runners at first and second with Robert Estrada at the place. He had a well-hit ball, but it was out to center field for the out. And there is going to be a meeting at the mound.
Yeah, and I'll say this, they don't have anybody warming up, and in fact, they really don't have many folks in the bullpen available, or not bullpen available, just in the dugout available. This team travels light, and like I said earlier, that could be either because they only want to bring the guys that have a chance of playing just to take some of the load off their players and not make them travel every night, or they've lost a lot of their numbers throughout the season, with such a, strenuous schedule, and that has led them to not have many guys.
And if that's the case and a lot of people have left, honestly, I see this as a good situation for a lot of these Pistons players. As you see, and when you look at the Hoppers, you have maybe about 3 or 4, more towards 3 that you see every single night that get those reps. With these Pistons players, there are players in this lineup, I'm sure, that play every single night. And as far as looking at, maybe you'd like to see some different looks for it's a team aspect, but as a player aspect, they're getting all the reps that they could possibly get and for preparation for their college season.
Yeah, and if that really is the issue, I think the bigger problem is pitching more so than the hitters. I mean, if you don't have 3 or 4 hitters here, pitchers, and you're struggling.
So apparently a coach was not in the dugout, or someone, I believe it was a coach, wasn't in the dugout, and the third base umpire had said something about it. Maybe, I believe a warning might have been issued. We have runners at first and second with 2 outs. High pitch there is called ball. Robert Estrada is at the plate. So all Hoppers players have touched the plate here at batting-wise. As that'll be a shot up near center field. A grounder trying to come in and score will be Van Hooser. He will come in as he came in fast rounding that third base, and he made it. The throw was not made. It was thrown over there to second to see if they could possibly get Carter Hood there.
Yeah, and I'm actually curious, Carter Hood, if he did it on purpose, was a pretty smart move to make that center fielder think that he was going to run to third and kind of stop him from making the throw home.
So now runners at first and second. It's a 5-3 ball game as the Hoppers have had a great bottom of the second here. As that'll be a strike called to Chase Cummings. He was the first run scored in this inning as he was walked. No balls, one strike. Throw there is low and outside. That'll make it 1 ball, 1 strike. And that pitch is also high. So 2 balls and 1 strike.
And you do wonder, I mean, this pitcher obviously struggling at this point in the game. They don't have anybody warming up. You know, where are their pitchers? How many did they bring? You know, you look at the dugout, it's pretty thin. There's a couple guys sitting in where we can't see, but I mean, they may have only brought 2 pitchers.
2-1 there. As that'll be a ball, making it 3-1. That ball is fouled and ends up near home plate. So now a full count for Chase Cummings. The throw is going to be grounded near third. No, it hits home before the grounder, so it's a foul ball. As in a loss to the Flash, I'm seeing yesterday, it was a doubleheader. The first game, they threw 3 pitchers and a 22-4 loss. As that'll be a chopper also fouled near third. So the count remains the same at 3-2. Then in the first game of the doubleheader, they ended up throwing just 2 pitchers. So you may be correct. Looking at a 12-6 in a 12-6 ball game against the Rhythm. They did win that one, as that will be going towards center field, and it lands in the glove of the center fielder there, as that will be the 3rd out. But that does not come after there were 3 hits. As I say that, I believe there was more than 3 hits. I've got 3 hits on the board. Maybe some errors have been changed because I'm reading 6 hits on the scoreboard. Regardless, I have 3 hits. I have 1 error, and I have 3 left on base. And 5 runs did score. As we look over at the Manpower of Hopkinsville scoreboard, we will head to the top of the 3rd inning. The Hoppers lead the Pistons 5-3. This is Hoptown Hopper Baseball, brought to you by Chick-fil-A.
News Radio WHOP.
And it is a 5-3 ball game as the Hoppers lead the Bowling Green Pistons here inside Colonel Field. As Wilburn for the Hoppers is still pitching. 0-1 the count. There is some action going on in the bullpen for the Hoppers, but still nothing for the Pistons. As that ball will be hit towards the bullpen. Looks like it could be playable. No, it lands right inside the bullpen. There is a fence in the way of that one. Can't make that grab if you're Robert Estrada out in right field.
And I'll tell you what, we were talking about the lack of pitchers here for the Pistons. I think one of them was sitting in front of us tracking the pitches of the starter, and so maybe there's the other pitcher, and they weren't warming him up because he was over here.
As that'll be a grounder towards third. It's fumbled a bit there by Hood. The glasses will come off. He'll still make the throw, but it is not in time. As I believe I missed it, but I believe Hood might have been shaken up. I think he might have hit you saw it?
Yeah, the ball, he missed the catcher, missed the field on the ball, and it bounced off his glove, hit him in the face, I think. And then after that, he was off balance, made an off-balance throw and fell down.
As he kind of did a motion as far as like shooting up there. He's talking to Coach Davari now. And I think he says he's all right there. So he will go back to third. And so at first now is Sandifer after the error. And now Zen Hyatt is at the plate. He had a base hit. And his one and only at bat. That ball is low and outside. Nice job from Reed Douglas to get behind that one. As we talked about, runners for the Pistons have been known to steal bases all season. They're second in stolen bases. But a left-handed pitcher here for the Hoppers right now makes it a lot more difficult. As that'll be a grounder, and that one goes right above the glove of Van Hooser. That was a hard one to grab there as it shot up. And a throw is made to third. A nice throw there from Estrada, but staying at second there was Sandifer. But Hyatt will reach, and I'll be curious to see if they rule that as a base hit or an error, because that was a pretty well, I mean, it bounced up off after it passed the grass.
Yeah, no, I'd probably say an error simply because it pretty much went straight to Van Hooser, and it did hit him off the glove. But, yeah, it was a hard ball to field.
So they will call it an error, so will we, as Hyatt will reach on the error there from Van Hooser. So now runners at first and second with no outs, and Edwin De La Cruz is at the plate. Right-handed batter.
So I'm assuming that Hood play was also an error, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so back-to-back errors here have the Pistons in a good spot.
1-0 the count as the pitch will get past Reed Douglas there, and he'll jog over to the ball as runners do advance to a second and third.
Yeah, and that's the first ball to actually get past Reed, but there's been several that were close to going by. So Caden Wilburn here has not started off as hot as he normally does, and this inning he's throwing a little bit loose, a little bit looks like he's losing his zone maybe.
So now runners at second and third. And a 2-0 count. That's a strike called there. So now 2 balls and 1 strike to De La Cruz. And no outs on the board. It's a 5-3 ball game as the Hoppers scored all 5 of their runs in the bottom of the second. As that'll be a ball called there just outside. It must be 5 runs in the bottom of the second for the Hoppers and 3 runs in the top of the first for the Pistons. That's how we have a 5-3 score here.
Yeah, and both of these teams struggling to get out, so this might be a long one.
As that ball will be low and a walk there for De La Cruz. Don't say that, man. Don't say that. Don't say that.
Well, I don't want it to be, but hey, man, I mean, we're already an hour in.
That's how the cookie is crumbling, I guess.
We're already an hour in. It's the top of the 3rd inning, and we have loaded bases here once again with no outs.
Oof. At least tomorrow's Friday, you know. Some of these people out here work tomorrow, you know. Now, of course, for you've still got 3 back-to-back games coming up is Caden Wilburn is going to come off of the mound after that walk. As we'll see who comes out a bit harder. You have to know this team and their builds and faces.
I can tell you by the way he's running, it's Jacob Dilday.
As Dilday there. You can't really see the uniforms. I did not mention that yet in this game. The Hoppers are wearing their military appreciation uniforms with the USA flag numbered on the back and the camo uniforms with white pants. The Pistons, when we last played them, they didn't actually have uniforms. They're wearing practice jerseys. Now they do have them, and the red uniforms with black lettering and gray pants. But it'll be Jacob Dilday pitching for the Hoppers here in the top of the third. He'll be facing loaded bases with no outs. We'll take a timeout, have more Hopper baseball continuing. It's all brought to you by Chick-fil-A. And Jacob Dilday has come on to the mound for the Hoppers as he is replacing Caden Wilburn.
Yeah, and he's coming in a sticky situation. We saw this a lot earlier this season where guys would have to come in and fight back against loaded bases with no outs. So here we are again. Haven't seen it in a minute. But Jacob Dilday in a tough spot here. We'll have to see some heroics for him to get out of this inning.
So bases loaded with no outs. As that looks like it'll be an infield fly. No, it's going to actually come behind us for a foul ball. Always funny to see the kids running after the ball. It's some sprints and races for those. So no balls, one strike here with loaded bases for the Bowling Green Pistons down by 2 runs. That ball there looks like it'll be a fly ball out to left field. It will be caught and staying at third as that was a short left field fly out there. So that's the perfect fly ball if you're the Hoppers, as no runs can tag.
Yeah, now a double play is in the cards for the Hoppers at pretty much any position in the infield. And I will mention this. I wasn't sure if I think Luis Vergara is getting brutalized by the sun out there. You can kind of see that's the one spot in the field where there's absolutely no shadows. He's having to hold his glove over his face, and he didn't see that ball when it left the bat. Kind of had to get some directions from his teammates.
Swing and a miss there. Jory Anderson is at the plate. So no balls, 1 strike, 1 out. That ball will be outside, making it a 1-1 count. Again, a 5-3 ball game. The Hoppers lead. With the Pistons up at bat here. That one is a strike there. As that one is just outside of the middle of the strike zone. So now 1 ball, 2 strikes to throw. That one will be grounded towards Van Hooser. He'll make the throw at second.
Oh.
No, it gets loose. And one run is scored, and now another one will come in.
Oh, man.
As that will tie the ball game up here. As a tough situation there, as Van Hooser had made the grab. And instead of tagging the base, he tried to throw to second quickly to make the double play. And so now a tough error there.
I'll be honest with you, man. That's pretty routine, but the play at home may have even been a safer one.
And now at the plate, it'll be Thomas Barnhart, left-handed batter. As he'll throw over to first, and in time is Anderson. That ball is going to be hit towards right field, and it's a base hit. As he may try to go for two. He is. That one's at the fence. It's just now picked up. Now trying to go from all the way to first to home, and scoring there is Anderson. As a double there will bring in 2 runs to make it a 7-5 ball game.
And, man, you hate to see that. What should have been a double play ending the inning turns into 4 runs just like that. And, man, I mean, these hoppers, that is one you'd love to have back. I mean, that's going from getting out of an inning in a sticky situation like that to 4 runs is pretty saddening to see, especially after you came back and scored 5 to get the lead just an inning ago.
His first pitch here to Isaac Whitaker is a strike, or no, a ball, excuse me. And another ball thrown, so 2 balls. Swing and a miss there. It'll make it a 2-1 count. So 4 runs scored in this second inning have given the Pistons back the lead. As stealing from second to third, the throw from Douglas is safe there. As it was a nice throw, though, from Douglas, but it was a strong leadoff there from Barnhart. And so now a runner at third. That pitch was also called a ball, so now 3 balls and 1 strike. As Jacob Dilday is on the mound for the Hoppers. That one is swung on and missed. So 3 balls and 2 strikes now. And that's a swing and a miss there for the strikeout. Now the first batter in the lineup, back at the plate, Landon Leake. It's 2 outs with the runner at third and a 7-5 ball game. The Pistons lead. That first pitch is right down the middle for a strike, maybe just a bit inside to the right-handed batter. No balls, 1 strike, as that will be grounded, and fielding it is Van Hooser. He'll make the toss over to Dilday. He'll tag the bag, and that will do it for the 3rd out. As we'll take a quick timeout. When we come back, we'll wrap up what happened in the 3rd inning for the Pistons in that inning. But it'll be the Hoppers next up to bat, as it'll be Bell, Keebler, and Douglas starting things off in the bottom of the 3rd. This is Hoptown Hopper Baseball, brought to you by Chick-fil-A.
News Radio WHOP.
Stephen Bell is at the plate, left-handed batter for the Hoppers. As the first pitch there is a strike. And a swing and a miss there makes it a 0-2 count. There were 3 errors in that last inning. There was 1 base hit. And there was 1 runner left on base. And 4 runs scored. It's a 1-2 count here, as that ball will be hit towards left field in foul territory, and it lands next to the fence inside the field, but can't be fielded there. So now 1-2 remains the count. So a 7-5 score here, as the Hoppers are trailing to the Pistons. As that will be a base hit there next to second base going towards center field. And it was bobbled a bit. Had Bell been a mind reader, I guess, or could see into the future, he could have made it to second, as the trying to field it there was a center fielder for the Pistons in Leak, and he kind of struggled to pick it up, but Bell had already done his routine, kind of come off the bag of first and staying there. But still a nice base hit there from Bell.
Yeah, and his second of the day, man. I'll tell you what, Bell just gets it done. And he was in an 0-2 count in both of those hits. And he just finds a way.
Throw there right down the middle for a strike to John Keebler. No ball, 1 strike. That pitch is inside, and they will call a strike there, or the umpire, should I say. So no balls, 2 strikes. Throw there is going to be an infield fly towards third, and it is caught.
Yeah, and the umpire there kind of ruining the at-bat for Keebler, as that second pitch should have been a ball, and Keebler then forced a fight. Probably was trying to foul that one off and just popped it straight up.
So now 1 out with Reed Douglas at the plate. He's 0 for 2 so far in this game. Flied out to center, and a well-hit ball in that first inning, and then second inning he struck out. The throw over to first, and end time there is Stephen Bell. Looking at a 7-5 ball game, as the Hoppers are trailing. The Pistons lead the Hoppers 7-5. So 1 ball, no strikes. The throw is a bit high and inside, which will make it a 2-0 count to Douglas. That throw is a low and outside, but a strike call. So 2 balls, 1 strike here.
And if Reed can get on base here, this is pretty much the exact same position they were in last inning whenever they scored all those runs, with Reed on, Bell on, Perkins would be on, and then Vergara coming in. So
2 balls, 1 strike throw there. Another outside strike. So now a 2-2 count with 1 out. And a runner at first, with the Hoppers down 2 runs here. The throw is inside and curves in for the strikeouts. And it'll be back-to-back for Reed Douglas at the plate. as that will be the second out. And now Sam Perkins will be at the plate. He has walked in his 2 at-bats in this game. First one was a full count. Second one was 3-0. He'll throw over to first as Bell had a lead off. He will be back in time. That pitch was a ball. So 1-0 the count with 2 outs. And a runner still at first with Perkins at the plate. And that's a strike called there. So 1 ball, 1 strike. And stealing is Bell. The throw will be made, and it bounces past the second, so Bell will get to go to third. They'll make the throw, and it is not in time.
So now this totally changes the look for Perkins, who probably just was looking for a walk a moment ago. Now has an opportunity to bat someone in.
As that will be an outside pitch there. Makes it 3 balls and 1 strike. And Perkins known for hitting towards that shortstop third base area. May want to hit away from it, but no, he won't get the chance to. As, whoa, never mind. We talk about how delayed this umpire is. Perkins was halfway towards first, and a strike was called. Fortunately, he kept the bat in his hand.
Yeah, it can't be that hard to call it right away and not wait till you're standing up and stretching to call it, but
full count pitch there, swung on and missed, and it was outside there. And that will do it. Back-to-back strikeouts for the Hoppers, the second and third out, as there was 1 hit, there was 1 error, and there was 1 left on base, and no runs scored. As we look over at the manpower of Hopkinsville, scoreboard 7-5. The Pistons lead the Hoppers. We'll be back for top of the 4th action here at Colonel Field. This is Hoptown Hopper Baseball, brought to you by Chick-fil-A. As the Hoppers here keeping Jacob Dilday on the mound. And it'll be Shannon Mitten at the plate. Pitch is called strike there. So 0-1 the count. That's an outside pitch. One ball and 2 strikes. So 2 balls and 2 strikes.
that ball outside, Dilday just trying his best to get this batter to swing on that one. Looked good for a moment, dipped out to the right.
And that's a high outside pitch for a ball. As that ball will be fouled to the screen behind home plate, keeping the count full here. Throw there, swung on and missed. And so 1 out after that strikeout. Now Don Sandifer will come to the plate. He has scored in every time he's come to the plate. First one, he ended up having a base hit and eventually scoring. And in the 3rd inning, he reached on an error and ended up scoring there as well. As that ball will be hit towards right field, it is winding, and that'll be a base hit, and he'll at least get 2. And I think that's all he's going to get as he stops at second base. And a nice day so far for Don Sandifer as he swings on the first pitch he sees there for the double.
Yeah, that's kind of an awkward hit there. He wasn't fully swung through on it and kind of goes off the bat. It was a late swing, and that almost helped it, pushed it towards the far right corner of the field instead of pulling it. It did not pull it at all. So faster player there, may have ended up on third base.
As that will be hit towards the center field, and it drops behind Stephen Bell. He couldn't get behind it, so a run will score as that is Sandifer coming. Ball gets a bit loose too, going to first, but staying at second will be Hyatt there, as Hyatt wanted to go, but the coach and I believe the dugout said don't go. Have you felt any rain? I don't know if it's just me. I feel like I felt a drop or two so far. So we have a runner at second. A run did score. That was Sandifer after back-to-back doubles.
Yeah, and a lot of guys throw so many balls, you want them to throw more strikes. Dilday throws so many strikes, you almost want him to throw more balls. These guys are hitting them off of him because he's throwing it in the strike zone on almost every pitch.
1-0, as that looks a lot better when you talk about the positioning of the strike, because that's going to be an outside strike there towards the middle. So now 1 ball, 1 strike for De La Cruz. As that will be a fastball outside, making it 2-1. Douglas had to stand up to grab that one. Two-one is going to be low and outside. That makes it a 3-1 count with 1 out and a runner at second, and an 8-5 score here. I'll tell you what, so far most of these games, as the pitch is thrown there, that'll be right down the middle. Had a bit of movement on it. All for the most part, you're going to see some runs scored when the Pistons play the Hoppers, it seems. As 8-5 the score now. That'll be a breaking ball, and I think that was a strike. Yes, it was a strikeout there, as De La Cruz will go looking, as that is the 2nd out and the 2nd strikeout of this inning. Now Charlie Teal will come to the plate.
Yeah, and that might be a good strategy for Dilday. Both of those strikeouts coming on full counts. Make it to where these guys feel like they might need to look at one of those strikes that he's throwing.
As that first pitch is outside. And that is a good point. When you throw that strike down the middle for the first pitch, it is, a lot more tempting to make the swing. But when it's a 3-1, it makes it a bit different story. Or 2-1. 1-0 the count. That one right there is called strike.
Yeah, I mean, if you have these guys thinking that you're about to walk them, they're significantly less likely to swing the bat even at balls that are closer to the zone. So maybe letting them get ahead and then sneaking back up with some strikes is a good way to play it.
As that ball will be fouled behind home plate, coming directly towards us. in the booth with a fortunate screen right in front of us to protect us from that baseball. So 1 ball, 2 strikes here with 2 outs. And an 8-5 ball game. The Pistons lead. That pitch is too high for a ball. So now 2 balls and 2 strikes. The throw is going to be fouled behind home plate. As Teal just got a piece of it. Teal was walked already in this ball game in the first. He flied out to left field in his last at bat. Teal, a left-handed batter. So now 2s across the board, as that will be a base hit straight towards center field. As trying to come in and run, it may be close, no, but out at second there will be Teal. As they made the throw to home, the run did score, but they had made the throw to home and then trying to go to second after the base hit, and Teal, he got thrown out. So when there was 2 hits, or no, excuse me, there was 3 hits. There were no errors. There was none left on base. And 2 runs scored. As we look over at the manpower of Hopkinsville scoreboard, 9-5. The Pistons lead the Hoppers. We'll be back for the bottom of the 4th, where we will see the 3, 4, 5 batters come up to the plate. That's Luis Vergara, Tate Van Hooser, and Carter Hood. This is Hoptown Hopper Baseball, brought to you by Chick-fil-A.
News Radio WHOP.
Luis Vergara is at the plate. 1 ball has been thrown to him to make it a 1-0 count. As that will be hit towards left field, and it'll bounce in front of the left fielder. He has to jump up after it bounces, but he does make the grab there. And so a base hit there. That is his second. So now Vergara is at first, and Tate Van Hooser will come to the plate. He had a base hit, and his last at bat, it was one that hit the wall near center field. But he does swing and miss there to make it an 0-1 count. That throw inside just gets in front of Van Hooser, not hitting him. 1 ball, 1 strike now.
Yeah, we've seen that several times where those pitches look like they're going to hit the batter and then dive in right at the last second there.
Malcolm Rolone pitching is, excuse me, my bad, Ethan.
No, that's fine. No, those. I was just going to say those pitches are pretty. They're not strikes, but at the very least, they might get the batter to back up a little bit off of the plate.
The 1-2 is going to be an outside pitch, and Van Hooser will strike out looking there. for the first out. So now 1 out. Carter Hood is at the plate, and Luis Vergara. Luis Vergara at first, Carter Hood at the plate. Throw there is going to be fouled behind the Chick-fil-A broadcast booth. As throwing over to first, and in time is Vergara. So 0-1 the count. With 1 out, that throw is low and outside. So now 1-1.
Yeah, in this fourth inning here, we're about halfway into this game, a little bit less than, and Hoppers need to get some runs before Bowling Green really pulls out ahead, as that's a strike to Hood, 1 and 2 the count for him. But, you know, this is a team that the Hoppers being not a great offensive team, if they can't close the gap soon, it's going to be tougher as this game gets closer to the end.
1-2 the count. The throw from Rolone will be grounded and fielded. The throw is made to second. That's an out. The throw to first. No, they will not throw to first, playing it safe there. And now there will be 2 outs as Hood reaches on fielder's choice. And Vergara is out at second. So now Robert Estrada at the plate with 2 outs and a runner at first. Throw there is hit towards left field. It looks like it has some distance to it. And that will be a home run for Robert Estrada. He's had multiple base hits this season, but that is his first home run of the season. And the deficit has been shrunken a bit here, as 2 runs will score on that home run to make it a 9-7 ball game.
That's an absolutely massive home run for this team. Sitting on 2 outs, it looked like they were going to go down once again with another 0 on the board, and that just brought them within 2. And, I mean, that was just an absolutely massive shot. Would have been even bigger if Vergara were still on base, man, but he'll take it.
So now a 9-7 ball game, as that pitch will be inside for a strike to Chase Cummings. So 0-1 the count. As that ball will be chopped and fielded there. The throw from De La Cruz at third is going to be out there. So quickly after that home run, things are over for the Hoppers in the bottom of the 4th inning. As a nice job from the Hoppers is there was 2 hits. There was no errors. There were none left on base, and 2 runs scored as we look over at the Manpower of Hopkinsville scoreboard heading to the top of the 5th inning. 9-7. The Pistons lead the Hoppers. This is Hoptown Hopper Baseball, brought to you by Chick-fil-A.
Radio WHOP AM Hopkinsville and WHOP HD3 Hopkinsville. News Radio WHOP.
And it's a new pitcher for the Hoptown Hoppers, as it looks like Stephen Jones will get some time on the mound, as he'll be replacing Jacob Dilday. Stephen Jones is one of those U-Indy pitchers for the Hoppers. We've seen two tonight, as Caden Wilburn started things off, and now we have Stephen Jones. As roster reads, he's from Brookville, Ohio.
The Hoppers have a chance in this game to take advantage with pitching because they have fresh arms. And this Pistons team, you know, by the looks of it, they're probably going to try to make it through this game throwing two guys tonight. You're going to want to take advantage as this starting pitcher starts to slow down, and the second pitcher likely will do the same in the later innings of this game.
You talk about it, too. They played a doubleheader yesterday, so that's something as well. They've probably used up most of the pitching that they do have. And now facing the Hoppers tonight, as Jory Anderson is at the plate. Swing and a miss there. The first throw from Stephen Jones. Here in the top of the fifth inning, it's a 9-7 ball game. The Pistons lead the Hoppers. As that will be a high pitch there for a ball. Another one of those games where we have seen a run be scored each inning. Some from different teams. But each inning, though, we've seen some runs scored. So exciting action here, as we saw a home run a few moments ago by Robert Estrada, two-run homer.
I'll tell you what, that's the kind of inning I like to see, because you got to see a home run. You got two runs, and the inning didn't go super long. So, you know, that was an entertaining bottom of the inning.
As that will be a swing and a miss there. It was a two-out home run. So always nice to see those for a team when their back's against the wall a bit in an inning, and then they come up with something like a home run. 2 balls, 2 strikes here. The throw, and that will be a strikeout. A great sign for Stephen Jones in his first batter he has seen. And that's 1 out here. Thomas Barnhart will now come to the plate. He had a double in his last at bat. And a left-handed batter. The throw there is outside for a ball.
Stephen Jones has sneaky power. If you kind of watch his body, he doesn't put a ton of thrust into throwing these balls, but if you watch how fast this gets to the catcher, I mean, he's throwing it with a lot of speed.
As that ball is a bit high, making it a 2-0 count. So 2 balls, no strikes, and 1 out here. It's a 9-7 lead for the Pistons, as they are currently batting right now. Another high pitch there makes it a 3-0 count.
And you're definitely going to want to throw a strike here. This batter going to want to leave the bat on the shoulder just in case you don't. Get your strike here and then make them fight afterwards.
3-0. That one is a strike called there, and I see the speed that you're talking about there on a pitch where he just wanted to make sure it was a strike. Still managed to throw a lot of speed. So 3-1 the count. Throw there. That one is going to be a strikeout as well, as Barnhart throws the bat. And you might want to be careful here, as rushing to give it back to him is Isaac Whitaker. We saw a batter get called out for a time violation, as he might have been a bit quicker than that last batter we saw a few weeks ago, getting his back. But full count, that one will be an outside pitch, so he will throw the bat and advance to first. And so there is 1 out, but a runner at first now, and Barnhart. Now Isaac Whitaker, a right-handed batter, will be at the plate. First pitch there, right down the middle, fastball for a strike. I mentioned, too, the Pistons are second in the league in stolen bases, And at first, they started things off, the Hoppers, with the left-handed pitcher. So it was a lot easier to see. But now with the right-handed pitcher, want to be careful. And of course, too, with Reed Douglas behind the plate. A nice arm to be making those throws. A breaking ball there is called strike, though. So now no balls and 2 strikes with 1 out here.
And getting this batter would be massive.
That throw will be a bit high and inside. So that'll make it 1-2. So moving out of the way there was Whitaker. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Jones looks over at first, prepares himself, makes the throw. That ball is low and outside, so it evens the count at 2 balls and 2 strikes.
And he's trying to get him to swing there, but now we're even up at the count at 2-2, and he needs to throw one of those fastballs and try to get the strikeout.
And the 2-2 pitch is thrown, and that one is too high. So now the count is full.
Second full count we've seen, back-to-back, last one walked. You hate to do all that work to walk a batter. And doing it twice in a row, you're stacking up that pitch count early.
As that throw will be a walk there. It's a ball. I believe you disagree with that pitch.
Yeah, it looked good from where I was standing, or sitting, I guess. But, I mean, on the inside corner, sure, but we see stuff like that get called a strike all day long.
And so back-to-back walks here put runners at first and second. With Landon Leak up at the plate. He's 0 for 2 on the day. First pitch is swung on and missed there. So no balls, 1 strike here.
And those high fastballs in the zone, but still on the higher part of it, are going to be hard to hit. These batters not used to seeing that speed.
Breaking ball looks good, and it sounds good from the umpire. Oh, my, that was a nice drop there on that ball.
Yeah, and he's going to have to get this one. He had a 0-2 count on his last batter as well, so can't let this one go.
So now 9-7 is score, and trying to steal, going to third, sliding, and safe is Barnhart, but it is a strikeout. As Leak is retired for the second out, and all 2 outs have come from strikeouts. First it was Jory Anderson, the leadoff hitter in this inning, and now it was the number 1 batter in the lineup, Landon Leak. Now number 2 batter, Shannon Mitten, is at the plate. The throw there is inside for a strike.
That's the same exact pitch that walked that batter a moment ago that I thought was a strike. Same one, and there it's called a strike.
And trying to steal there. It's a breaking ball, and just, it's a strike called, but Douglas won't make the throw to second.
They're going to put this one in the hands of the pitcher.
0-2 the count here with 2 outs. The throw to Mitten is swung on and missed, as all 3 outs came from strikeouts. And there ended up being 2 left on base. There was no errors, there were no hits, and there were no runs scored, as we will head to the bottom of the 5th inning, as the Hoppers will send their 3, 4, and 5 batters. That'll be Luis Vergara, Tate Van Hooser, and Carter Hood. Or no, excuse me, it'll be the 8-9-1 batters. It'll be Stephen Bell, John Keebler, and Reed Douglas. Again, Bell, Keebler, and Douglas. As we'll take a timeout, have more Hoptown Hopper baseball coming up, brought to you by Chick-fil-A. Stephen Bell at the plate. That'll be a foul ball going towards the Pistons dugout. It lands on top of their roof. And so an 0-1 count here to Bell, left-handed batter. As that will be towards third base, and they will call it foul. It was close. But a foul ball called, making it now no balls and 2 strikes.
Yeah, the last two times Stephen Bell's been up to bat, it's been an 0-2 count for him, and he's gotten a hit in both of those. So let's see if he's just trying to live dangerously tonight.
And you're right, Stephen Bell is 2 for 2 on the day. Throw there, and that will be a grounder, but it's fielded by De La Cruz. He'll make the throw, and that will be an out there. Nice job there from De La Cruz. He was ready for that one.
And I'll say this, we've seen several times De La Cruz has a massive arm from third base. He does not look like he's giving any effort into those throws, and they just fly straight to the first baseman. No question about it. That's probably not where you're going to want to be hitting these balls, because some third basemen you can get away with that. The slower throws, you'll beat it out, but not tonight.
As that will be an outside pitch there, as that will be a 1-0 count now. As another pitch there is called a ball. So now 2 balls and no strike. John Keebler at the plate. And a strike called there. First one in the count, makes it 2-1. As that will be a grounder towards second. It's fielded, it's thrown, and that's an out there. 4-3 there for the second out. And now at the top of the lineup, it's Reed Douglas back at the plate. He is 0 for 3 so far in this game, trying to turn things around in his game today. As that's a strike called there. So 0-1 the count. And so now a ball called there makes it 1-1. One ball, 1 strike. And that ball inside for a ball. No sliders being thrown, man. They look like, as that pitch is thrown, that one will hit home plate and go towards the backstop, making it 3-1. Those sliders, they look like these right-handed batters, looks like it's going to clip them in the rib cage, and they just drop in. And we've seen a couple of them get called strikes now. That last one was called ball. 3-1 the count. That one will be a strike there. So now a full count.
Here in the 5th inning, they finally sent a catcher and a pitcher to the bullpen, but they're not really warming up too hard yet, just stretching. So this pitcher likely to stay in at least another inning.
As that pitch will be fouled and hits the screen to the right of the plate. And in his last at bat, Reed Douglas faced a full count. He struck out in that one, trying to have a different outcome here. As that ball will be hit towards the center field, and it is caught there for the out. As that will be the 3rd out, as it was 3 up, 3 down. There were no hits, no errors, none left on base, and no runs scored as we head to the top of the 6th inning. Checking the manpower of Hopkinsville scoreboard. The Bowling Green Pistons lead the Hoptown Hoppers 9-7. This is Hoptown Hopper Baseball, brought to you by Chick-fil-A.
News Radio WHOP.
And welcome back. 9-7 is the score. And it is food truck night here at the ballpark. And food trucks are still out here, so if you want to grab a quick bite to eat, don't feel like cooking dinner tonight, I think we've got some trucks that can take care of you. I believe it's a taco truck, and then Southern Belle, I believe, is the other truck, and then Hoptown Popsicles is here as well. A 9-7 ball game here, as the Pistons are leading the Hoppers. Don Sandifer is at the plate now. Right-handed batter. Stephen Jones is pitching, as that ball was fouled and ended up hitting not sure what you would call it, hitting the building here of the booth, and ended up landing back in the field. 0-1 the count. Throw there, breaking ball. It looked good, and it sounds good from the umpire there. That makes it an 0-2 count here. So Sandifer finds himself quickly behind in the count. The 0-2 breaking ball, that one is hit towards left field, and it will be fielded by center fielder Stephen Bell. As that is the first out. Now Zen Hyatt is at the plate. So Sandifer, he was a part of that back-to-back doubles. He just flied out, and Hyatt was the other one who had the double, as he's a left-handed batter. Throw there is a breaking ball, called strike. Pitch was a bit high, but Zen Hyatt has some height on him, so it was almost right in the middle for him.
It was also well framed by Reed Douglas, who brought it down just a tad, and this umpire's slow, so.
As that pitch is low, the third base umpire will say he didn't go, so that will make it a 1-1 count. The umpires for this game at home plate, it's Christian Moffitt. First base umpire is Jordan Blick, and the third base umpire is Theodore E. Ashton. 1-1 the count. That pitch is too high and comes out of the glove of Reed Douglas. So 2 balls, 1 strike. As that is swung on and missed, the high heater there. Makes it 2 balls and 2 strikes. Got 1 out on the board. And again, a 9-7 ball game here in the top of the 6th inning. The Pistons leading, Pistons batting. Outside pitch there is tracked down by Reed Douglas, but a ball in the count makes it full. And Kentucky Homes Realty is the game day sponsor. Kelly Mitchell, the owner. So a full count here. And the throw is made, and it is going to be fouled to a first there. Van Hooser was behind that one to make the grab.
You're looking at Stephen Jones has faced multiple full counts already in his 1.5 innings so far.
As that will be a ball there. So Hyatt will walk, and he's about around 35 pitches is Stephen Jones. Now Edwin De La Cruz is at the plate. And that's a strike called. And when saying Edwin De La Cruz, I can't help but think of Cincinnati Reds' Ellie De La Cruz when looking at him. And some of the stat I saw, too, is the Reds ended up defeating the Nationals again today. The Reds are 21-6 since Ellie De La Cruz was called up. And they actually average over 6 runs per game since he's arrived. So
It's a totally different team.
yeah.
And that guy is something special. And he's, even on his off night, something about him. He helps elevate that team to a winning group.
No balls and 2 strikes here. And that'll be a swing and a miss there. So De La Cruz for the Pistons will be sent to the dugout for the second out. I thought it was funny, too. I'm not sure if you saw the clip yesterday. Umpires wanted to check his bat, to make sure it was all, it was standard. And he ended up being good. And later in the game, he hit a home run and kind of looked over at the umpire and showed him the bat. You want to check this? And so charismatic, is De La Cruz for sure, but a great ball player. Left-handed batter is at the plate. It's Charlie Teal. First pitch is high. 4 balls, so 1-0 the count. Again, 2 outs and a 9-7 ball game. The Pistons lead the Hoppers. Pistons at the plate. That will be hit towards the left field, and I think that one might drop, and it does. And going to third is Hyatt. He'll make it. And going to second there is Teal.
Someone was bound to get a big hit off of Jones eventually with the speed he's throwing. Has done a good job to get strikeouts, has 4. And I believe he's either walked 3 or 4 as well. But someone was bound to get a big hit off of one of those fast pitches eventually, and it's so happened right there. But no runs scored yet, and Jones has shown his ability to strike players out. So he has an opportunity here to leave these guys on base.
So 2 outs here with runners at second and third. First throw is a check swing, but it doesn't matter because it's a strike called. Jory Anderson, he was one of those batters that was struck out in the last inning by Stephen Jones. 0-1 the count. The throw there is chopped and fouled. Ends up a bit around home plate. But quickly, no balls and 2 strikes here for Jory Anderson. And again, runners at second and third. Second and third. The throw is going to be swung on and missed. You talk about the capability to strike batters out. That is what Stephen Jones is showing, as there was 1 hit. There were no errors. There were 2 left on base, and there was no runs scored. As we head to the bottom of the 6th inning, the Hoppers will send their 2, 3, 4 batters. That's Perkins, Vergara, and Van Hooser. As this is Hoptown Hopper baseball. Looking at the manpower of Hopkinsville scoreboard, 9-7. The Pistons lead. The Hoppers will be back for bottom of the 6th inning action, brought to you by Chick-fil-A.
WHOP.
It is a 9-7 ball game here. And we have a new pitcher for the Bowling Green Pistons. Sam Perkins is set to bat. And it looks like it's going to be, I want to say Justin Cruz is looking at the roster, but I'm going to double check here and make sure that's who it is, because he's listed as a utility player in the lineup. As the first pitch is called ball to Sam Perkins. And Justin Cruz is who is listed on Game Changer, as that'll be a base hit there in that sweet spot in between the third and the shortstop. And Perkins gets things started here with the base hit.
You love to see it too. You've just been waiting for Perkins to hit one of those. He likes to hit him there. He's already walked twice today, and then he struck out on a questionable call in his last at-bat. So done just about everything now as he gets the hit there. And Luis already has a couple hits, I believe. Is he 3 for 3 as we sit right now on hits?
As he is.
So a good batter to have with someone on base and no outs.
That'll be inside there. So 1-0 the count. And that ball will be hit high towards the left center and mid left center, and it is caught there by Leak. So staying at first will be Perkins. And for the first time, Luis Vergara is out. Well, I wouldn't say out, but out with the hit. He actually, in 2 of his base hits, he's been tagged out near second. But Vergara flies out to 8, or center field, excuse me, right numbers here. 9-7 is the score. Pistons lead the Hoppers. Tate Van Hooser is at the plate now for the Hoppers. He'll swing on the first pitch there, and that is going to be fouled behind the Hoppers bleachers near first base. So 0-1 the count quickly. So no balls, 1 strike, 1 out. The throw is swung on and missed. This is possibly going to be back-to-back innings if Hoppers can't manage to score with no runs scored by either team. I had mentioned in the first 4 innings, at least one team has scored in every inning, but that 5th inning, no runs have scored, and right now, a possible risk as well. Throw here to Van Hooser. It'll be shot towards left field, trying to track it down. There is Barnhart. He can't make the grab as it bounces in front of him in left field, and a base hit there from Van Hooser will put Perkins at second, and Van Hooser himself at first.
Yeah, and that shot sounded a lot better than it was. I think the left fielder kind of got tricked up and thought that was going to go a lot deeper than it did. Wasn't ready to run forward, actually. Probably was getting ready to back up a little bit, and it drops. So you escape the possible strikeout there, and only 1 out on the board, and now you have a runner in scoring position.
So now 1 out with runners at first and second. As that will be too high there for a ball to Carter Hood, who has come to the plate. He had reached on fielder's choice in that 3rd inning, and he scored from the Robert Estrada home run, which, speaking of Estrada, he is on deck coming off of his last at bat, which was the home run. That pitch is too low, so now 2 balls and no strikes. And again, it's Justin Cruz from Tallahassee Community College pitching for the Pistons. The throw is going to be low as well as it bounces near home plate. So now 3 balls and no strikes.
Yeah, and if you're Carter Hood, got to find a way to walk here. You have, we haven't seen enough of this pitcher to say he has no chance of throwing him out, but good chance a ball comes at some point.
That one there is an inside strike called. Now 3 balls and 1 strike with runners at first and second with 1 out. The throw will be hit towards left field. That'll be a base hit as it lands in front of the left fielder and trying to come in and scores. Perkins, and the ball gets past the left
They're
fielder.
bring in Van Hooser as
And
well.
that'll be another run scored. Van Hooser, he is quick coming off of the bag. And a brutal error there from the left fielder, Barnhart. I honestly started looking at the runner. I didn't see how. Did you see how that ball got past him? I missed it.
I think the sending of Perkins, that was shallow left field, and sending Perkins there may have made that left fielder go from a pretty casual pickup of that ball, get it into the infield, to oh crap, I got to get this into the home plate, and all of a sudden he looks up and that ball goes under his glove.
Wow. So 2 runs score, and we have a tie ball game here in the bottom of the 6th inning. As that first pitch is low for a ball. Now 1-0 the count. Estrada with the runner at second. Already had the 2-run homer in this game. Wouldn't be surprised if he tries to find a good pitch here. And it's Hood at second.
You've clearly seen that this pitcher is hittable, as all of the batters up so far have gotten a hit.
2 balls, no strikes here. As again, there is a 1 out. The throw, that one is too low as well. So a 3-0 count. And against the ropes now is Cruz, the pitcher for the Pistons. The throw, that one is in the middle, a bit inside, 4 strikes. And now 3-1 the count. And this might be the pitch to swing on if you're Estrada, if it looks good. As that throw is too high, so Estrada will walk.
Here we have Dom Oliverio, who's coming into this game here for his first at-bat here in the 6th inning. And he's another guy with a ton of power, so maybe after seeing the hittability of this pitcher, they're going to start bringing in guys like Oliverio to maybe try to get one out of here.
Oliverio, a mainstay starter for this Hopper program, and finds himself out, not starting tonight, but now in the game. As we talked about it before the game, Dom, a kind of unusual performance in yesterday's doubleheader. He did end up getting a double in that second game, but it struck out in all of his at-bats in that first. And so now Dom Oliverio will get a chance at the plate with the runners at first and second.
And you notice most teams, whenever a batter gives up 3 hits and a walk, they're going to send someone to the bullpen to warm up. And there's no one in that bullpen, so one has to imagine that the original plan for this team may have been for this pitcher to go to the end of this game.
Again, we are here in the bottom of the 6th. With the 1 out and the runners at first and second. It's a tie ball game here at 9 runs apiece. Oliverio, a right-handed batter. The throw is going to be a ball there as it hits behind home plate in front of the catcher. So now 1-0 the count. And 2 for 3, Stephen Bell is on deck. So a great position here for the Hoppers with runners at first and second and 1 out. Throw there is going to be chopped in front of home plate for a foul. So 1 ball, 1 strike. As we've seen, I'll wait for this 1 ball, 1 strike throw here. throw. That ball an outside strike. We've seen Cody Jones here in home games. When he's not pitching or warming up, he has been the go-to guy for announcing these raffles for the crowd. So I'm assuming maybe designated the best public speaker on this team.
Yeah, some guys like to do stuff like that, man. A lot of these guys like to come out here and be a part of the community, and he's been a big part of these home games for the Hoppers.
1 ball, 2 strikes there. A check swing, and I believe they say he went. So strikeout there. As Oliverio will go out on the check swing. So now we have 2 outs with Stephen Bell at the plate. So still a nice position. You talk about Stephen Bell. He's done a good job hitting this ball. So if you're the Hoppers, a great chance still to take the lead in this with 2 outs and runners at first and second. The first throw, breaking ball, is called strike.
We talk about guys who like to be part of the Hoptown community. The last few games, home games, Gavin Baxter has come out before the games and walked up to every single fan in attendance and shaking hands and giving hugs. And when I say every single fan, I mean every single one of them. He comes up here and says hi to us in the box too. So he's another one of those guys that has found himself at home in Hoptown.
No balls, 2 strikes. You love to see things like that, you know. And Gavin Baxter not too far from Hopkinsville, from Clarksville, Tennessee. But to come here and, you know, embrace the home fans is a really cool thing to see. So 0-2 the count. That ball is lasered near the bullpen, fouled. Bullpen of the Hoppers near right field. So 0-2 the count. And if Bell can reach base, it's John Keebler on deck for the Hoppers, but Bell worrying about an 0-2 count here. The throw, and that will be it. Is not swinging there is Bell, but a strike is called. So that will do it for the Hoppers, as there was 3 hits in that inning. There was 1 error, and there was 2 left on base, but and 2 runs scored. 2 runs did score. So we have a tie ball game here, 9-9, as we look over at the manpower of Hopkinsville scoreboard heading to the top of the 7th. 9-9 the score. We'll be back with more Hopper action here, brought to you by Chick-fil-A.
This is News Radio WHOP AM Hopkinsville and WHOP HD3 Hopkinsville. News Radio WHOP.
And we have a new pitcher for the Hoppers. It's Ethan Davis, as he has been seen a lot in previous games, making an appearance here. And it'll be the 8-9-1 batters here in the top of the 7th inning for the Pistons. I just want to look at some games going on across the league if we have time here. As don't have a score the Chiefs supposed to be playing the Clarksville Whirlybirds tonight. Don't have a score posted there. Miners taking on the Flash. Miners lead the Flash 5-1 in the top of the 9th inning. First pitch there is called ball to Barnhart. As that will be a hit towards left field. And 1-0 the count. Or excuse me, a runner at first. And I'm not sure if fans heard that one. That was the company phone that we're running the system off of. Just got a spam phone call.
Yeah, I didn't.
Never heard that before. Never seen.
I honestly didn't know that phone could even take phone calls. It's an iPhone 5. I think about 15 years old. I don't even know that those things work to take phone calls anymore.
If he's not listening, I have to joke with the boss about that one tomorrow. We've got a runner at first after that base hit from Barnhart. And that's an outside throw, back-to-back outside throws to Isaac Whitaker from Ethan Davis. Hoppers have seen now 4 pitchers compared to the Pistons 2. Again, we're at 9-9 score here. The runner at first and no outs. The throw there to Whitaker. That one's hit towards right field and tracking it down and making the grab there is Estrada sliding in for that one. It was right next to the foul line. Not sure if it would have been fair or not. I think it would have been fair. And making a great play, proving why he's out there just about every night. Robert Estrada.
Yeah, and the speed is something else. I mean, no one else out there would have been able to make that catch, not because if they were under it, they wouldn't have been able to catch it. They just wouldn't have been able to get to it.
As faking a throw there was Davis, and now there'll be a meeting on the hill between Reed Douglas, the catcher, and pitcher Ethan Davis. As the third base coach had looked over to Thomas Barnhart at first and did some hand signaling there, so we may see a potential stolen base attempt, if that's what that hand signal means, not sure. But I do know we have 1 out, and Landon Leak is at the plate for the Pistons. First throw is a strike there. Nice fastball from Davis. So 0-1 the count. Throwing over to first and in time is Whitaker. So an 0-1 count with 1 out and a runner at first and a 9-9 ball game. High pitch there. Can't dip in low enough. So that'll be a 1-1 count now. 12 hits for the Hoppers in this ball game. But 3 errors as well. 3 errors for the Pistons as well, too. They have 8 hits. As that's an outside pitch, making it 2 balls and 1 strike. And 2-1 count here. Landon Leak struck out in his last at bat. He will hit that ball, and that one will go foul. I just saw an NBA notification on my phone and kind of jumped up a bit thinking maybe it's the Damian Lillard news. Nope, it's just the Grizzlies and Suns making a couple of pick swaps. So they put the emergency logo on there. I feel like that's not one you really put an emergency logo for. But, I mean, I guess picks can be important sometimes. But I looked over quick because wondering what is going to happen there in Portland as that pitch is thrown. And it's a swing and a miss there. Landon Leak strikes out. As that'll be the second out. And now Shannon Mitten will come to the plate. So now 2 outs with the runner still at first. That's Barnhart. And that ball will be grounded. Tracking it down is Keebler, and he'll just tag the bag to end things here. as that will do it, as there was one hit. There were no errors. There was none left on base. And no runs scored, as it is officially the 7th inning stretch, brought to you by Chick-fil-A. Visit them today on Fort Campbell Boulevard and download the Chick-fil-A app for online ordering. And checking the manpower of Hopkinsville's scoreboard, the Hoppers are currently tied with the Bowling Green Pistons. The score 9-9. We head to the bottom of the 7th inning. This is Hoptown Hopper Baseball, also brought to you by Chick-fil-A.
News Radio WHOP.
Welcome back inside Colonel Field. Jamar Perkins joined by Ethan Alexander here as the Hoptown Hoppers are playing a fun one here. It's a tie ball game, 9-9, as we are in the bottom of the 7th inning. And starting things off here for the Hoppers is John Keebler. It'll be the 9-1-2 batters, Keebler, Douglas, and Perkins. That pitch is just inside there for the strike. So 0-1 the count. Second pitch, that one dips in for a strike as well. So quickly behind in the count now is Keebler. Keebler 1 for 3 on the day. His first at bat was a base hit. That pitch is too high, breaking ball. So 1-2 now the count. And that's an inside pitch. So 2 balls and 2 strikes. Again, food trucks are out here tonight. You've missed probably, most of the ball game, but still a tie ball game if you want to grab a quick bite to eat and see this ending of this game here. Inside pitch. There makes it the count full. 3 balls and 2 strikes. Thanks to all listeners out there, whether via radio or the YouTube. And that'll be a check swing there, but the pitch is inside, so Keebler will walk. And so now a runner at first, as the coach for the Pistons is wanting to know where that pitch was at to make it a ball.
Yeah, I agree. I thought that one was a strike. I think actually Keebler almost check swinging kind of got the umpire to look at the swing and not the pitch.
As being hit there is Reed Douglas. Took it in the back. As he'll go to first, and Keebler will advance to second. And now Sam Perkins is at the plate. Perkins 1 for 2 on the night. He was walked in his first 2 at-bats, struck out in his third, and had a base hit. And also ended up scoring in that 6th. Now runners at first and second. Perkins at the plate. He showed bunt, but the pitch is away from the bat for a strike. And that's one thing to note, too. Perkins is by far the best bunter in this lineup. Now with the 0-1 count, you wonder if he'll show it again. with his skill, he just might. He does have the bat near his shoulder now, but he did in the first pitch as well. As the 0-1, he will show the bunt, but take it away. As the pitch gets a bit loose, they'll make a throw to second, and it is two ahead of the bag at second. So making it to second is Douglas, and going to third is Keebler. So now, with the 1-1 count, it may not, the bunt probably might be out of the picture. Now you want a good hitter in Perkins to just get you a hit with runners at second and third.
Yeah, that bunt was to get him there, and the pitcher went ahead and said, you know, enough with all that, I'm going to do it for you. So now Sam Perkins can actually let some swings go loose or maybe walk. He has done that twice today.
Runners at second and third. Breaking ball, that pitch is too high. So 2 ball, 1 strike. And 9-9 is the score here in the bottom of the 7th inning. Throw there is swung on and missed inside. So now 2 balls and 2 strikes. The throw there is fouled behind home plate. It's 2 balls, 2 strikes, and runners at second and third. And no outs here for the Hoppers. The throw, that ball will bounce on home plate, so a full count here. Three balls, 2 strikes, runners at second and third. No outs here in a tie ball game at 9 apiece. On deck is Luis Vergara for the Hoppers. He has 3 hits on the day. The pitch, that ball is going to look like an infield fly. The first baseman tracks that one down. And so now 1 out with Luis Vergara at the plate. Started off with 3 back-to-back singles, but did fly out to center field in his last at-bat, as it looks like it'll be a conference between the coach for the Pistons and the pitcher, Jason Cruz. A quick thought. I never really thought about this, but I wonder how much different the game of baseball would be if you struck out with 4 strikes and walked with 3 balls. The amount of offense probably displayed, I feel like there'd be a lot more hits. But it'd be interesting if maybe like an all-star game, they could just try that and see what happens.
Or maybe if they were the same, at least 4 and 4.
Yeah, I guess, yeah, that would work too.
To keep the walks the same, you know, you don't want to see a ton of walks. And give the batters one more shot.
Or maybe 3 and 3. I think that
or
might
maybe
be.
3 and 3.
We'll never see it. But an interesting thought for the night. How much different would the game of baseball be? But Luis Vergara is at the plate now. 3 for 4 on the day, with runners at second and third. That's Douglas and Keebler. Douglas at second, Keebler at third. And the first throw after the conference is going to be low, and catching it in between his legs there was the catcher for the Pistons.
And this could very well be the Hoppers' best shot at getting ahead in this ball game. You know, you're not 100% sure if they'll get another one, so they need to take advantage here.
Swing and a miss there. Now 1 ball, 1 strike. You're right. The offense has not been as hot as it was for either of these teams. Now, granted, the Hoppers did just score 2 runs in that last inning. Can't say that, but hasn't been as popping as it was. So you do want to take opportunities. That pitch will get loose, and trying to make the throw, and in time scoring there is Keebler. And that is the lead now for the Hoppers. And advancing to third is Reed Douglas. And that's all the Hoppers needed right there. They didn't necessarily even need a hit. That was a wild pitch there that brought in that run from third. So now a 10-9 lead for the Hoppers here against the Pistons. Runner at third. The throw is going to be a strike called there. As that pitch there makes it a 2-2 count with the runner at third and 1 out. Throw there is going to be a fly ball as that one goes near the food trucks. Count remains the same at 2 balls and 2 strikes as Reed Douglas at third base is clapping in support of his teammate at the plate. Three balls and 2 strikes.
Vergara getting on base here, not getting out, and Van Hooser, who's had several hits today coming on, would be big for the Hoppers.
As that looks like possibly another infield fly, trying to track it down there as the first baseman, and he can't get it. And so trying to go to second there, and the ball gets loose. I think it hit Vergara, as coming in to score now is Douglas. That ball, it made contact with something and went towards left field. And a wild event there brings in Reed Douglas.
Very wild. I mean, that ball was hit towards the stars, and so when those infielders came in and tried to field it, they just weren't in the right spot, and it drops behind the first baseman. Just so a routine, well, not routine, you don't see those a ton, but a catch that they, should be able to make, not able to make it there. And Luis Vergara is an experienced player, and he noticed that the second baseman nor shortstop stayed at second base. He was going to get second no matter what there. And the throw, in a desperation throw to get him out, flies off of either Vergara or the glove of the second baseman. It flew off somebody. I don't know if it hit Vergara. I don't know where, because he doesn't show any signs of that ball hitting him. But he's on second base now, and they still have 1 out.
So now an 11-9 lead, as that will be an outside pitch there to Van Hooser, who has come on for the Hoppers. 2 errors in that play, just alone, and 5 total for the Pistons tonight. So runner at second, a 1-0 count. The throw is inside, inside for a strike there. Went to say ball, but delayed call from the plate umpire, Moffitt. 1 ball, 1 strike, 1 out. And trying to steal there was Vergara, but he will be forced to come back after the foul ball behind home plate and behind the Chick-fil-A broadcast booth. So now 1 ball, 2 strikes. The Madisonville Miners defeat the Henderson Flash tonight 5-1. 1 ball, 2 strikes here. The throw, breaking ball, and that one's too high there. So now 2 balls and 2 strikes. Van Hooser, as you mentioned, coming off of that base hit in the 6th inning. Also had 1 in the 2nd as well. That is an outside pitch. It'll be fouled and tagged out there. Fouled into the glove, so a strikeout, and then trying to go to third there was Vergara, and he was thrown out. So kind of a double play there off of the strikeout and the throwout. And that will do it, as there were no hits in that inning for the Hoppers, but there were 2 errors. And there was none left on base with 2 runs scored. As we look over at the Manpower Hopkinsville scoreboard, 11-9. As we head to the top of the 8th inning. This is Hoptown Hopper Baseball, brought to you by Chick-fil-A. It's a 11-9 lead for the Hoppers here in the top of the 8th inning, and we have a new pitcher for the Hoppers. It's Jackson McTire. As he has come on, he will replace Ethan Davis. So now 5 pitchers for the Hoppers to the 2 for the Bowling Green Pistons. And as we mentioned, I think it might just be those 2 tonight, as we maybe could see a closer come in for the Pistons, but limited pitchers here. And that is, you talk about this roster for the Hoppers, that is one benefit, is you'll never see us run out of pitchers in a night. And so now Don Sandifer will come to the plate. He is 2 for 4 on the evening, or 2 for 3. As the first pitch is a strike from McTire. Second pitch is a bit high and inside. That makes it a 1-1 count. And hit by a pitch there, Sandifer. He'll take that one on the left side of his back. The right-handed batter. And so now Zen Hyatt will come to the plate. He had a double earlier in this game, also a single, making him 2 for 3. Walked in his last at bat. First throw is too high there, and so going to second will be Sandifer. We had saw that in the Clarksville game from McTire's. One of the pitches I believe he's trying to throw, it happened twice against the Whirlybirds back-to-back times, but just gets thrown really high to where it's going towards the screen. And fortunately for the Hoppers, just was a runner at first here, putting him on second.
And you can't let this slip now. We know the Hoppers don't like to win ball games that they're ahead of, so can't let this lead slip now that they have it. That'll be the second time they would have let a 2-run lead slip in this game.
So now 2 balls and no strikes with the runner at second and Hyatt at the plate. That one swung on and missed. A low outside pitch. He couldn't get there, could Hyatt. So now 2-1 the count. Two balls, 1 strike. The throw there, swung on and missed. Back to back. Missed swings there. Make it a 2-2 count. Again, 11-9. The score as the Hoppers lead the Pistons. Throw there. Looked like a check swing, but it was high there for a ball. So now a full count. The throw, that one will bounce in front of home plate. So that will be a walk there for Hyatt. And now runners at first and second, as Reed Douglas had jumped up after that ball was thrown to make sure that Sandifer didn't try to leave second. Now Edwin De La Cruz will come to the plate. He struck out in his last at-bat. He's actually struck out in his last 2 at-bats. First time was looking, second was swinging. 0 for 3 on the day, as that will be a high outside pitch for a ball. Currently no players are in the bullpen for the Hoppers here, so looking like Hoppers looking to possibly finish things here with McTire, as he will show bunt. I believe he crossed the plate, and so he did. And trying to tag there at second, they'll say safe, as the throw was made to Keebler, and Keebler almost on top of Sandifer there. And so no out there after the throw, but there was a strike, so now 1-1 the count. Once again, a nice throw there from Douglas. It was a bit off, though, but it was a nice job from Keebler to kind of get to that ball and try to track down Sandifer at second. But according to the umpire, couldn't get there in time, or didn't get there in time. As I believe Davari wants to have a chat with the third base umpire. And the umpire kind of gesturing, showing the back there. He's kind of pointing to his back. Not exactly sure what was said, but the call stands. And runners remain at first and second. De La Cruz is facing a 1-1 count. Again, 11-9 is the score as the Hoppers lead the Pistons. Bunt is shown, but it didn't cross the plate, so 2-1 is the count. That pitch looked a little closer to a strike than I thought it was taking credit for, but 2-1 the count. And that pitch is too high there.
Can't walk this batter. Can't walk him. You cannot walk this batter.
3-1 the count. We have runners at first and second. And the throw there is going to be outside for a walk. So bases loaded now. Sandifer goes to third, Hyatt goes to second, and De La Cruz will advance to first. Now Charlie Teal is at the plate. His last at bat was a double. So the Pistons could use one of those. As I say that, there does seem to be some players heading over to the bullpen for the Hoppers. So the original plan to maybe keeping McTire out there may change depending on how this outcome shakes up, as we do see players making their way over to the bullpen. And Coach Mike Albin has come to the mound to discuss things with McTire. Carter Hood at third has also come to the pitching conference, as well as Reed Douglas, the catcher. The umpire does now approach the mound. And then Albin makes his way back to the dugout. So 11-9. The tying run is at second with the bases loaded, and the go-ahead is at first. First pitch from McTire. That one is just a bit outside for a strike. So 0-1 the count. Again, Charlie Teal is at the plate. Second pitch is high and outside, making it 1-1. McTire working pretty quickly here. The 1-1, and that one will be fouled behind the bleachers near third base, more behind home plate. One ball, two strikes. The throw, that one is inside for a ball. Crowd doesn't like that one, but it was pretty tight there inside. Not mad at the call. Throw there will be a grounder. It'll be a throw to Van Hooser for the force out. And that is a nice job there from Van Hooser to prevent that run from being scored.
Yeah, and he was in the same situation earlier and overthrew a ball to second base there, making the right decision, probably what he should have done earlier, and just throwing it to first. I mean, throwing it home and getting the out there.
And so the force out there will get the one out, but advancing to first, as that is a bunt shown, but it is fouled by first. So the bases loaded once again, but no run was scored. Now we have one outs here with Jory Anderson at the plate, as he is 0 for 3. Showing bunt again, but that pitch is too high. And bat didn't cross the plate, so 1-1 now the count. As you're wondering, as inching in closer is Carter Hood near third. You're wondering what the plan is here, as that will be a strike called there. And no bunt was shown at all there, but 1 ball and 2 strikes now. We probably won't see one again. As McTire likes the pitch, and that one is high there, nodded there, made the throw, but too high there. 2 balls and 2 strikes now.
And you're sitting here with 2 strikes. You need to get this batter.
That's a foul ball behind home plate. So fighting here is Jory Anderson. As I mentioned, he struck out in his last 2 at-bats, does not want to go out again like that. And if you're Anderson, at worst, want a quality fly ball to bring in a run. That pitch is outside, so he's going to work a full count here.
Jackson needs to go straight at him and make him work. You got to get this batter.
The throw, and that was going to be grounded, and Van Hooser gets a glove on it but can't get to it. A run will score, and going behind Van Hooser was Perkins at second, and kind of trying to back him up. Wasn't expecting Van Hooser to hit the ball, so hit it kind of to the right of him. Perkins' momentum was going to the left, and so he had to backtrack and go back, and that was not done in time. So a run does score, and going to first is Anderson.
And that runner was walked. Actually, I believe he was hit by a pitch.
The runner that just scored
Hyatt, I believe.
was walked. As that is now 2 balls for Barnhart, who is at the plate. Bases once again loaded. That pitch is inside. As that pitch will get loose, and the tying run easily comes to the plate as De La Cruz makes his way home. And now we have a tie ball game here. 11 runs apiece for both of these squads.
I think the easiest bet in the world, like you could make infinite amounts of money, is if you bet on the opposing team to come back on the Hoppers after the Hoppers get a lead at some point in the game.
Showing button taking it away there was Whitaker. I want to note, too, it was 3 balls when that wild pitch came, so it was an automatic walk. So now at third is Teal, at second is Anderson, and at first is Barnhart. Isaac Whitaker is at the plate, as he is now facing a 2-0 count with 1 out, and the base is loaded. Leak is on deck. Throw there right down the middle for a strike. So 2-1 the call. The throw is going to be fouled there, right above home plate. Just kind of tapped the barrel of the bat there and landed on home plate. So now 2 balls and 2 strikes. One out, bases loaded, the 2-2 count. The throw, that one is going to be a bit high and outside. So now a full count. And that will be a strikeout looking there for Whitaker. And so now 2 outs. And the bases will remain loaded as Landon Leak has come to the plate. First pitch is a strike. 0-1 the count. And outside pitch there makes it 1-1. Swing and a miss there. As that was a high pitch thrown. So now 1 ball and 2 strikes. And the Hoppers have already gave up 2 runs here to tie the ball game. Do not want to let the Pistons take the lead here. The 1-2 is going to be like a foul ball near Van Hooser. He'll get under it, and he makes the grab. So that will do it for the top of the 8th inning, as Reed Douglas is having a chat with the umpire. I believe he's disagreeing with some things, but nodding his head and maybe trying to get some confirmation there, as he will walk back towards the dugout. But there was 1 hit. There were no errors. And there ended up being 3 left on base with 2 runs that scored. As we look over at the manpower of Hopkinsville, scoreboard 11-11. All knotted up here as we will head to the bottom of the 8th inning. And the Hoppers will send 5, 6, and 7. That's Carter Hood, Robert Estrada, and Adam Oliverio. This is Hoptown Hopper Baseball, brought to you by Chick-fil-A.
For financial advice to be
Radio WHOP.
And a tight ball game. It's been close the whole game here. We're at the bottom of the 8th inning with a tie one. It's 11-11. And Carter Hood is at the plate. Hood had a base hit in his last at bat. And is 1 for 2 on the day. Ball thrown there makes it a 1-0 count. That throw is a shot towards left field, and it'll end up in short left field, and it's dropped there. So Hood will make it to first on the error by the left fielder.
If you're the Hoppers, I mean, I was just about to say you really have to lock in here and win it in this inning. But after that, I mean, that drop, and you're sitting here with no outs, and now you have a runner on first when you should have an out on the board. You got to win it now. I mean, that right there is the error you're going to get. You've gotten an error, and now you need to win the game.
So now at first base is Hood. Estrada at the plate. He'll show bunt. He'll land it right by the second baseman. He'll throw over to second, and the pitch gets past the second or the shortstop, and now going to third is Hood, and that is frustrating for a team. And looking over at the coach for the Pistons, he steps back from the fence. That's devastating for the Pistons, but a great opportunity for the Hoppers here. As bunts can confuse some teams sometimes. Bunts kind of show where chemistry and playmaking abilities come on a defensive side. And right there, the Pistons fail there. So now runners at first and third with no outs.
And we just talked, you got that one error, now you have 2. And this is you got to get it done here. No excuses.
first pitch to Dom Oliverio. Will be swung on and missed there. So no ball, one strike. And the throw is swung on and missed once again. So back-to-back missed swings, make it an 0-2 count. Again, runners at first and third, and don't forget about the speed from Estrada at first. The throw will be fouled. So that keeps the count the same at no balls and two strikes.
And this is an absolutely massive at-bat here, because if Oliverio gets out, the double play will be able to end the inning. And you know, Oliverio hasn't been himself lately. He's going to have to really lock in here and make this a solid at-bat, sitting at 0-2 now. Cannot afford another swing and a miss.
He's trying to steal there. That's an outside pitch, and Estrada will make it to second easily off the stolen base. No throw is made. As Estrada just took the lead on the team with 9 stolen bases. With 8 is Reed Douglas. Throw there. Yeah, that one was close, but a ball is called just a bit low and inside. So now 2 balls and 2 strikes with runners at second and third with no outs. Great spot here for the Hoppers. On deck is Stephen Bell. After that, it'll be John Keebler. The 2-2 pitch, that one is low once again. So now a full count. Started at no balls and 2 strikes. Now we got 3 balls. As this game just passed about the 3-hour mark here at Colonel Field. And the bottom of the 8th, that ball is fouled to the screen near the bleachers by first. And tracking down that ball is Nixon Grace, the ball boy for the Hoptown Hoppers. So 3 balls, 2 strikes. Runners at second and third with Oliverio at the plate. The pitch is going to be a breaking ball. And striking out is Oliverio as he throws the bat thinking he was going to walk. And he will have to walk to the dugout, not first base there after the strikeout looking there. And so now 1 out with still runners at second and third. A low pitch there almost gets past Sandifer at home plate, but he's able to get in front of it. One ball and no strikes. As that'll be a grounder. First baseman will kind of eye down the runner at third, and he tags the base himself for the outs. And that is now 2 outs. A nice job there from Teal as he was able to make the play and kind of look over at third to Hood and see if he'd go, and was still fast enough to beat Bell at first. And now 2 outs with runners at second and third. And the throw there is a strike called, so 0-1 the count. Again, a tie ball game, 11 runs apiece here. And the bottom of the 8th, that pitch is inside for a ball. So now 1 ball, 1 strike. on Keebler against Justin Cruz on the mound. The throw here is going to be high for a ball, so now 2 balls and 1 strike. If Keebler can manage to touch a bag here, it'll be Reed Douglas next up for the Hoppers. The 2-1. That one is too low for a ball. Looked close, but nice discipline there from Keebler to watch it go by him. So now 3-1 the count. Pitch thrown there is fouled to the screen behind home plate. So now a full count here with 2 outs. Big point in this ball game here, with Keebler at the plate and runners at second and third. The 3-2 is a breaking ball and swung on and missed there. A bit of a late swing. And a nice job from Cruz to get out of that situation. And a tough break for the Hoppers, as there were actually no hits in that inning. There was 2 errors, and there was 2 left on base with no runs scored. We head to the top of the 9th inning, and we still have a tie ball game here, 11-11. Looking over at the Manpower of Hopkinsville scoreboard, looking for a job, visit Manpower on Fort Campbell Boulevard in Hopkinsville today. Let them connect you with a great position where you can start tomorrow. The score, 11-11. This is Hoptown Hopper Baseball, brought to you by Chick-fil-A.
Radio WHOP.
It's a tie ball game here. And in the top of the 9th inning, 11-11 is the score. In the top of the 9th inning, the Hoppers will send Cannon Anthony to the mound to try to end things here and close it out. And hopefully the Hoppers, for them, they can get some runs, as they will be in a good spot in the bottom of the 9th. They'll have Reed Douglas, Sam Perkins, and Luis Vergara starting things off. And for the Pistons, they're also in a good spot. It's their 2-3-4 batter. So 1-2-3 for the Hoppers in the bottom of this inning. And the Pistons get to start off comfortably as well.
Yeah, pretty much at this point, you just have to keep a 0 on the board for Bowling Green if you're the Hoppers. I'm not going to say anything about how the last inning ended, because I wouldn't have any nice words to say. But if you're Hoptown right now, you can't give up walks. That's been what's killed them today, beginning of this game, and then just in the last inning that allowed the Pistons to tie it up. And can't hit anybody, no wild pitches. Let the defense work, throw strikes, and don't make errors.
This is going to be the 6th time as that pitch is high and goes above the head and the glove, should I say, of Reed Douglas. And the ball boy, Nixon Grace, will pick it up. I love the fact that they make sure to dress up Nixon in the exact same thing that the Hoppers are wearing, from head to toe. And,
he's got his own number, too.
Is it 88?
88 on every one of those jerseys. So they're specially made for him. Those aren't just a kid small. Those are specialty made.
Yeah. So 2 balls, no strikes here to Shannon Mitten. That pitch is a strike just a bit inside. So now 2 balls and 1 strike. Again, Cannon Anthony pitching for the Hoppers. The throw is, I don't know how to describe that ball. It looked like a strike there. Maybe we'll say just a bit too inside there. But regardless, it's a 3-1 count now. Pitch there is fouled off, making the count full 3-2. Again, we are here in the top of the 9th inning. The game day sponsor for tonight's game is Kentucky Homes Realty, owned by Kelly Mitchell. As a full count pitch here is thrown, and it's swung on and missed. Cannon Anthony always coming out with that nice fastball in his appearances. Shows that one there.
And way to not fool around and just get the batter. That's a big strikeout right there. Big strikeout.
Now Don Sandifer is at the plate. He is 2 for 2 on the evening. He was hit by a pitch and his last at bat. Swings and misses on that one. So now no balls and 1 strike. And that will hit Sandifer for the 2nd time in a row by a different pitcher this time. And he will advance to first.
Well, that time it was, his arms are just over the plate. That one could be argued that I don't think he leaned into it, but he definitely didn't try to get out of the way.
So now up to bat is Zen Hyatt, the lefty. He's been walked in back-to-back outings at the plate. Just a low outside pitch there for a ball. Swing and a miss there. So now 1 ball and 1 strike. One ball, 1 strike. That ball is fouled and hits the roof of the broadcast booth. One ball, 2 strikes. That ball is low. Douglas will make the throw over to the shortstop, and tagging him out there is Keebler. And a nice throw there from Reed Douglas. And that was the discussion between myself and Coach Tavares, talking about his arm speed and being able to throw against the 2nd best stealing team in this league, and Douglas has done a great job so far. 2 balls and 2 strikes here with now 2 outs and no runners on base. Things getting more comfortable for the Hoppers here as the throw is made. That pitch is a bit high and outside. So now a full count here. Throw is swung on and missed, and hitting home plate after the strikeout with his bat is high. He is mad about that one, but he will have to be upset in the dugout as that is going to be it for the Pistons in the ninth inning, as there were no hits, no errors, none left on base, and no runs scored. We head to the bottom of the ninth inning, where the Hoppers can end things here. As I mentioned, they'll send their 1, 2, 3 batters. It's Reed Douglas, Sam Perkins, and Luis Vergara. This is Hoptown Hopper Baseball. Checking the Manpower Hopkinsville scoreboard, 11-11. We'll be back with more action here, brought to you by Chick-fil-A.
WHOP.
And it's a tie ball game here. 11-11. And the bottom of the ninth inning, a chance for the Hoppers to walk this one off. And what has been a fun game and competitive game between both of these teams has had its fair share of errors. It's 10 combined errors, but 7 of them come from the Pistons, only 3 from the Hoppers.
Yep, you have more hits, less errors by a considerable amount, and the game's tied.
First pitch is called strike to Douglas, so 0-1 the count. Second pitch, breaking ball, ducking and getting out of the way there was Douglas, as that one went towards his head. Now 1 ball, 1 strike. The 1-1, that one is low and outside, bounces near home plate for the ball. 2-1 the count. We've seen 7 pitchers for the Hoppers and just 2 for the Bowling Green Pistons. As now a 2-1 count. The throw is looking like an infield fly near first base, getting underneath it and making the grab there. A nice job, as that will be the first out. So now Sam Perkins is at the plate. Interesting that Charlie Teal is playing at first base. I was a bit confused, but he bats left-handed, but he fields right-handed. So 1 out here. The throw is high there to Sam Perkins for a ball. 1 out here in the bottom of the ninth inning. Breaking ball is ducking out of the way there as Perkins. Once again, that one, Perkins is a bit shorter. That almost clipped him in the back even after ducking.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. If both guys, Reed Douglas and Perkins, didn't duck, there'd be 2 guys on base.
As that is a shot, but fouled near third base. So 2 balls and 1 strike. Two-one. That ball is hit, soars right field. I'm not sure the right fielder can get to it. He can't, as that one will bounce behind him. And now going to second is Perkins. I think he's going to stay at second, and that's a nice decision as they make the throw to the cutoff man. The way he was moving at first, I thought maybe he could go for 3, but a nice job there from Perkins to put himself in a perfect position to possibly score here with Robert Estrada now at the plate.
Luis Vergara.
Luis Vergara, excuse me.
Yeah.
Luis Vergara at the plate. And Luis Vergara is a nice player to be at the plate as well, as he is 3 for 4 on the day, or 3 for 5, excuse me. He reached on an error in his last at bat. So now runner at second with Vergara at the plate with 1 out. First pitch, that one is low for a ball. And that pitch is 2 inside there. So now 2 balls and no strikes. A 2-0. And that ball is too high. So now 3 balls and no strikes. And you wonder in this situation, 3-0 the count, if Vergara might possibly swing here on the 3-0 count. 3-0 the count. The throw, he does not swing, but it is called strike there on the breaking ball. So 3-1 now the count with the runner at second. And a tie ball game here, 11-11 in the bottom of the 9th inning. A chance for the Hoppers to walk this one off. The 3-1 is going to be a check swing. They'll say he did not go. And so now runners at first and second as Vergara walks. And now it'll be Tate Van Hooser.
You know, Van Hooser is a guy who likes to put a lot of power behind these swings. But right now, contact is what they need. He just needs to get this ball in play.
And so 1 out here, a nice position for him to be in. As that ball will hit home plate, it will get loose, and advancing to second and third now are Vergara and Perkins.
And they squandered this opportunity, same exact opportunity last inning. They're going to try not to do it here.
And you are right. This is another good opportunity for the Hoppers to score here, and a score here would end this ball game. So now Van Hooser facing a 1-0 count. A wild pitch as well could also, now with the runner at third, could end this game, especially with the speed of Sam Perkins. This throw is going to be low and outside to make it a 2-0 count. It's a good hitting Van Hooser and a pitcher on the mound who's thrown a couple of wild pitches. And this is the time where you can't do it. So a tough position here for Cruz on the mound. As that pitch is inside, and I believe it may have hit Van Hooser. And they're going to send him to first. Van Hooser, I don't think he wanted to go to first. But he will. So now bases are loaded. And it is Carter Hood coming to the plate. Van Hooser at first, Vergara at second, and Perkins at third. And a solid fly ball could end this ball game here with the 1 out. And Perkins at third. And first pitch is high and outside there. So 1-0 the count with 1 out. Again, the base is loaded. That pitch is low. It's a Sandifer in the dirt. Sandifer did a good job of not letting that get past him. Now 2 balls, no strikes to throw there. That's a strike there, a bit high, but low enough for the strike call. So now 2 balls and 1 strike. The 2-1 pitch being drawn up. The throw. That one will hit Carter Hood, and that will end the ball game. A tough way to go out if you're Cruz, but a win is a win for the Hoppers, and they got it done. As back-to-back hit by pitches there. And that will be the ball game. As coming in to score, Sam Perkins. And the Hoppers get it done in that bottom of the 9th inning. There was just one hit for the Hoppers. But there ended up being just that hit by pitch that ended up ending things for the Hoppers. And that did it. As 12-11, your final score. As we will take a timeout and head over to our post-game show. Again, 12-11, the final score. We'll be back here. This is Hoptown Hopper Baseball, brought to you by Chick-fil-A.
This is News Radio WHOP AM Hopkinsville and WHOP HD. WHOP.
And welcome back as the Hoptown Hoppers defeated the Bowling Green Pistons 12-11. As the Hoppers are currently ahead, or are currently wrapping up their meeting. As 12-11 was the final score. As I want to look at our game summary, brought to you by North Trust Insurance, serving Medicare customers with prescription drug plans, Medicare supplement plans, and Medicare Advantage. Visit them today at 305 North Drive or call 270-885-0811. As we do have a player coming up here, but quickly, just give me your thoughts on this ball game and this win for the Hoppers.
Yeah, I'll run through it quick. You know, if that bottom of the 8th inning had gone, or if we had lost this game after the bottom of the 8th inning, how it went, this summary would have been a little different. But because they came out and did what they needed to do there in the bottom of the 9th, it all night long they hit actually pretty well tonight. The pitching was up and down, but they kind of took advantage of pitching on the other team that. You know, the other team was unlucky and they didn't really have the numbers as far as pitching is concerned. But overall, they did what they needed to do. And even though the defense pitching wasn't 100% fantastic, at the end of the day, it didn't really matter. And they were able to get the offense going at the end.
And 13 hits for the Hoppers as they were able to come out with the victory. 7 errors for the Pistons, which proved to be tough. A couple of critical errors as well that helped score some runs for the Hoppers. But we're going to go ahead and take a timeout. When we come back, we'll hear from Robert Estrada on his performance. Also had a home run early in the game. We'll discuss that. But we'll take a quick break, have more of our post-game show coming up after this.
Whether you
as we are facing technical difficulties on the radio side, but we do have, if you're still listening, tuning into the Hoptown Hoppers YouTube broadcast, we are still live here, and we are joined by Robert Estrada. Congrats on the win first off, and tell me your thoughts on this win.
We needed that win, like really bad. We needed to win today, and it was a long game, so we're gonna be tired tomorrow. Hopefully, we get all the rest we need.
And so, can you, as far as discuss to me, as far as the home run, if you could give your mic to Robert here. It seems like we're having some difficulties with his mic, but you mentioned needing this win.
Yeah.
So moving forward, how do you think that a win like this is? I know one thing to talk about too. The last time that this team was here, they did beat you guys 26-4. So I don't know if you remembered that and kind of said, okay, we got to get this win, or how was that kind of for you?
We talked about it yesterday. We knew we had to come ready to play because we didn't want the same thing that happened last time to happen today. So yeah, it helps us a lot to prepare for tomorrow.
And you talk about preparing for tomorrow. Kind of walk me through that too. You've been one of the players that consistently has been in this lineup for the Hoppers. How has it been kind of, making sure you can take your rest when you can during the days and being a player that plays pretty much every night for the Hoppers?
So it's been kind of tough, to be honest with you, because it's really hot over here. So you got to stay hydrated. I try to get as much sleep as I can. I try to work out a little bit before every game. So that's how I try to stay, I would say consistent, to be able to play every day.
First home run of the season.
Yeah.
What were your thoughts on that when it left the bat? Did you know? And what was it like the experience in that?
I knew it.
You knew?
Yeah, because he was throwing basically he knew he couldn't come with a fastball because I already got a hit on the fastball. And against Tate, he started with a curveball. And then against Carter, he started with a fastball. So I was like, he's coming with a curveball for his pitch.
Yeah.
And he just left it hanging. And I was just like, yeah, goodbye.
And so you're taking account of that. So when you're on deck and when you're looking, you're paying attention to seeing what these pitches are. How does that for you as far as analyzing what's coming before you even come to the plate?
Sometimes it's tough because you gotta really pay attention to the game to know what the pitcher is throwing. So before 2 at bats before me, I try to see what he's throwing and everything like that. Get his timing a little bit, and when I'm on the on deck box, I just try to get timing, not swing on anything, just see what pitches he's throwing and what I can handle.
All right. Well, once again, thank you for your time, Robert. As the Hoppers are able to get the victory 12-11. We'll come back and we'll discuss our player of the game after this timeout. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
On air, but we can go ahead and discuss the player of the game. I wanted to lead up to you, Ethan. It wasn't, you didn't have a microphone. I wasn't exactly sure if you felt it was Estrada or not having the home run, but in your opinion, when you look at the stats, who would be your player of the game?
Yeah, I mean, if you had to pick a play of the game and not a player of the game, Robert may have had that. That home run was pretty big, either that or Perkins' big double there at the end. But I think from beginning to end, the consistency of Luis Vergara probably got the player of the game for me. Multiple hits and a walk and reaching on an error, and a guy who was on base almost every single time he was up. I think he only didn't reach once tonight in 5 at-bats. So that helped a ton, and some of those hits driving in runs, he was solid all night. And I think you like to see a home run and give it to a guy who had a home run. And an honorable mention to Robert for doing so, and Sam Perkins as well. He was consistent, another consistent player. But I think as far as winning a ball game from start to finish, you have to go with a guy like Luis Vergara.
And again, the player of the game brought to you by Skyline Animal Clinic and Oak Grove Animal Hospital, who supports all the area schools, athletes, and students. Skyline Animal Clinic has been your source of veterinary care for small animals since 1956. Call them today for all your pets' veterinary needs. Again, player of the game tonight, Luis Vergara. And so the Hoppers will be back in action more this week. It won't be at Colonel Field, though. There are actually no more home games during the week. Tonight actually wasn't even supposed to be a home game against the Bowling Green Pistons, but they'll be on the road tomorrow against the Fulton Railroaders. And Saturday will actually be an off day, as they were supposed to take on the Owensboro River Dogs, but that will be a game that they get to spend some time off. And then Sunday, it'll be on the road taking on the Muhlenberg County Stallions. So that's the games for the rest of the week. And wrapping things up here, as I want to say thank you to all those who listened. Thanks to all those who participated in the broadcast. Bruce Smiley helping out, as well as Jeff Sisk. But for Ethan Alexander's, Jamar Perkins saying so long. And want to remind you, as always, to call your loved ones and tell them go Hoppers.